Good evening,
ladies and gentlemen, post to post.
Tuesday, Tuesday. It's another very exciting episode of Tuesday, Post to Post Tuesday.
I love it.
It's 4 cents later. I'm your boy Drummer John here with the brothers in discussion. We got both of them in the house this week. Will and Grayson, along with the Weatherman. What's going on, fellas?
I know you missed me.
We always do.
We are gonna have some fun this week.
I know. We
Fight like Grayson.
we apologize to everyone ahead of time because the patented Grayson advertisements of the week weren't available last week. So I'm sure they'll be happy to know they've returned in some capacity. And then the biggest thing of this week, which we'll save for a little while later, is we let Weatherman have fun with a couple things. We what's the word I'm looking for here?
Did a social experiment.
We're going to a blast from the past.
We're gonna take a time machine.
Yeah, we're gonna make some long format comparisons.
Long format. 24 years?
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's like, what the fuck is going on? Weatherman, tell them what the hell we're talking about. Give them an overview.
Well, folks, what we're going to do this week is we're going to go back in the Wayback Machine and go back to the year 1997, preferably the week of February 10th, which is the same night that AEW aired this week. So we're going to compare how Nitro and Raw was booked, formatted, and how it ran compared to AEW today, and show where AEW is fucking up, where they're doing good, a lot more on the fucking upside, and we're just gonna hop in that Wayback Machine and just remember how great wrestling used to be. It's not 1986, but it's close.
There's the Cornette angle I was waiting to hear. It's not 1980 something, but it's damn close. But before we jump into that, it's time for the usual news. And we've decided to dub this. Grayson, would you like to dub the new section for John?
I don't think he heard what the
I
hell
don't remember the name. I just remember it's like, as far as I'm concerned, it's pretty much the Drummer John WWE Power Hour.
It could turn into
This
an
dude
hour.
could go for like an hour on just WWE while we sit here like we didn't watch it.
That is quite accurate.
I call it Crush Hour because it's so terrible that it matches a video game.
Speaking
Not you,
of video
John.
games, on Battlegrounds, we
You're
got Mr.
Twisted Metal. WWE is Crush Hour.
McMahon on Battlegrounds this week.
Oh god.
They released him on Battlegrounds so you can fight as Vince McMahon versus Gronk now.
Yeah, because that's exactly what I want.
Yeah. You got footballs and bureaucracy in my wrestling. You got wrestling in my bureaucracy and football. This is great.
So the biggest thing I wanted to talk about this week, to start off with, is Vengeance Day. NXT had their pay-per-view for Vengeance Day on Saturday night. I enjoyed it, top to bottom. I thought it was a good show. Good matches that took place, good stories. My favorite story to come out of there has got to be Dexter Lumis. Dexter Lumis went and kidnapped Austin Theory before Johnny Gargano's match against Kushida, which was a fucking awesome match.
Oh, that was the best part.
Yeah, Kushida, man, they need to belt that guy.
I know.
But Dexter Lumis comes out, kidnaps him, he chloroforms him, and then this week on Austin Theory's Twitter account, all kinds of weird shit's been going on. Austin Theory replaced his photo with a picture of Dexter Lumis's face, and then today tweeted out a picture of The Way, but instead of Austin Theory's face, he put Dexter Loomis's face over his face, and it's funny as hell. You got to see the picture. But that was a big part of the show. The other big part of the show was with the Undisputed Era. So at the end of the night, you had Finn Balor versus Pete Dunne. At the end of the match, Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch came out to beat the shit out of Finn Balor with Pete Dunne. And then the Undisputed Era came out for the save. Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, and Adam Cole. And, Kyle O'Reilly was, showing respect to Finn Balor and whatnot. And they all lined up, and we're going to do the UE pose. And Adam Cole super kicked the shit out of Finn Balor. And then Kyle O'Reilly's arguing with him about it. Why did you do that? Blah, 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 this and that. And Adam Cole super kicked the shit out of Kyle O'Reilly. So what does this mean for the Undisputed Era? Is this going to be the end of the Undisputed Era? Are they going to be breaking up? Bobby Fish is still out injured again.
As much as I like the Undisputed Era, I could see them kind of splitting. I really could. I don't know if they'll do it because it's an NXT cash cow, much like the fucking New Day.
I was just gonna say they just released all new merch with new colors.
They just released all new figures of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
It could go either way. It could be they're kicking O'Reilly out.
I could see that. I could see him going on as a singles competitor.
Yeah. Even though I would prefer to see it as when Bobby Fish comes back, he's pissed off that O'Reilly's gone. It was O'Reilly, right?
Yeah, Kyle O'Reilly.
Okay. Because let's see, if I'm not getting it mixed up, was it O'Reilly and Fish that used to tag on the Independents, or was it Fish and Strong?
No, it was Red Fish and O'Reilly.
Okay. Yeah. So I could almost see them. Him getting pissed off when they come back and dipping out and tagging with O'Reilly again. And then the Undisputed Era being Roderick Strong and Adam Cole, and possibly bringing in some new blood.
Yeah, they'd have to bring in somebody to fill that out. They've been teasing Karrion Kross versus what the hell's that guy's name? He used to be El Phantasmo.
Not that El Phantasmo.
Not that El Phantasmo, but El Hijo del Fantasma.
Yeah.
He
got that shitty name.
Yeah, the shitty wannabe drug dealer name, Escobar.
Yeah.
Escobar, but they're teasing that Karrion Kross versus him. Fun part of the night was during the women's title match. Io Shirai, Mercedes Martinez, and Toni Storm. Toni Storm goes to clear off the announce table so she could put Io Shirai through it. She gets the stuff off the table, and then the table just falls apart. Just fucking falls apart before they could do any spot on it. It was pretty goddamn funny.
It was one of those moments where even the people at the announce table were just like, "The fuck? We were just sitting here."
Yeah, we were just yeah, okay. But that was the funniest part of the night for me. We didn't see any titles change hands at all throughout the night. So I
was kind of disappointed. I was really hoping they were going to give Kushida the rub over Gargano. And, I mean, that match right there proves Kushida could carry a belt and make it look good. I mean...
They gave the belt to Leon Ruff at one point. I mean, come the fuck on, dude. Yeah. Leon Ruff, no offense to Leon Ruff, but he can't hold a fucking candle to Kushida.
No, I mean, that match started off as, like, straight up old school mat work. And it was awesome. I mean, probably the coolest spot of that entire match was that flipping armbar off the top.
Oh my god, yeah.
It was nuts. And, like, they didn't go crazy with high spots either. That's, like, the only one I can truly think of.
Yeah, that was by far the biggest one.
Yeah.
The hoverboard lock, the flipping hoverboard lock off the top rope.
Mm-hmm.
In other WWE news, MVP legitimately injured on Monday night. He actually flew out to is it Alabama where the doctor's at? Birmingham, Alabama. Yeah, to see the surgeon for WWE. So we don't know what it is with the leg. When he was on Raw Talk later in the night, he was on crutches. So hopefully it's nothing too serious and doesn't require surgery, because Hurt Business is fucking banging right now. Doing well. They're running on all 4 cylinders again, finally. And looking good. We have a new 24/7 champion. Bad Bunny.
Oh, God.
Won the 7 title from fucking R-Truth. That shit was fun.
That belt gets dumber and dumber all the time. It's to me, it's the B movie of belts.
Mm-hmm.
It's becoming so fucking bad and terrible that it's slowly becoming good again. I don't.
Entertaining, because we're seeing it not just in WWE events, we're seeing it in social media, we're seeing it on other news stories. You know, when celebrities are winning the belt, it's making mainstream news. It's not a bad thing, you know. Essentially it's the fucking roll up and pin motherfuckers belt, because that's how the majority of the people fucking win it. Although this week with Bad Bunny, he didn't roll them up. He actually pinned them straight out, because what's his face won it. Akira Tozawa beat R-Truth for it in front of him and Damian Priest. He backed up into Damian Priest. Damian Priest beat shit out of him, slammed him into some stuff, and then Damian Priest looked at Bad Bunny and said, "Go for it, man." And he pinned him, and he had to tell him he was the champion. It was pretty funny, and then they left out of there. But I mean, Bad Bunny's been working at the Performance Center. You know, a WrestleMania match is going to happen. He's going to get one. But there's also another match that they're talking about happening: Bad Bunny versus fucking Bow Wow.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Bow Wow is currently training with Rikishi, because after his next album drops, he wants to wrestle. So he's training with the Quiche.
Oh my God.
Let's see. Elimination Chamber is going to be the next pay-per-view coming up, and some of the matches are still up in the air, because another angle that happened this week, and we talked about it at length prior to, so this is going to be an interesting conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Lacey Evans announced that she is pregnant this week during a tag match with it was Charlotte and Asuka versus Peyton and Lacey, and Lacey wouldn't tag into the match, and then Peyton tagged her, and Charlotte went after her, and she jumped off the match and mysteriously got a microphone and announced that she was pregnant. And Ric Flair started dancing and getting happy and all that shit and wooing and whatnot. So the storyline is that Ric Flair is the father. The reality of the situation is Lacey Evans is legitimately pregnant with her second child from her husband, Alfonso. And she's going to stick around on TV for a little bit. They're going to keep her around for another couple months with the Ric Flair storyline. But it's not going to end with Charlotte and Lacey Evans having a match, because, yeah, she's pregnant.
Wait, who's Alfonso? Alfonso Romero from Fresh Prince?
Lacey Evans' real-life husband.
I was hoping that my exasperated eye roll was audible enough for people to hear over the airwaves just then, because, again, yes, legit pregnant, but, the worst and shittiest way to write it into a current angle. The worst.
Don't agree.
That's because you drink WWE Kool-Aid all the time. It's fucking awful.
and they're rolling with it. They're rolling with it. Not going to fucking just stop a storyline because she gets pregnant. So they're taking the storyline that they had already in place and they're just tweaking it a little bit.
In the shittiest way possible. The trashiest way possible. It's fucking terrible.
How else could they do it then?
They can do it any number of ways.
Let's hear it.
Why do the burden of proof's on you? Tell me how it's not shitty.
Do it better. Give us an example. Because I like what they're doing with it. I think it's fucking cool. I think it's funny. I think it's entertaining that a 71-year-old Ric Flair is fathering a child with a married woman. You know, we're overlooking all that stuff.
That is the most ho-hum. We've dipped into this fucking adultery pregnancy barrel yet again and just threw shit at a wall. That's all they're doing.
That every wrestling organization does.
No. Time out. In kayfabe, she's not really married, so this is just another Ric Flair night on the town.
Yeah, basically.
And he must have really used those Nature Boy Flair for All dig skirts.
I would say his son-in-law hooked him up with some Blue Chews if they sponsor his podcast.
Maybe.
The last thing you need to do is fucking work any angle that feeds Flair's ego any more than it already is.
He was already there. They were already using him.
And they could have done it without that. They could have just written her pregnancy in legitimately and not had it work with Flair. And it would have been just as good. The Flair angle just made it super trailer park.
Doing that would ignore the fact that the storyline was already ongoing.
It's dumb.
It's been done 1,000 times. Doesn't make it dumb. It wasn't done with the past. It wasn't done with Who's the Daddy with Dominic Mysterio back in the day. It was
dumb then. That was a fucking stupid.
I thought that shit was entertaining as hell.
I didn't like it at all. That was a shitty time.
But with Elimination Chamber coming up, there's like only 2 matches that are confirmed solid. Because they made changes to the Elimination Chamber match for Raw. They took out The Miz. The Miz took himself out. And then Kofi Kingston wanted to get into the match. The Miz wanted John Morrison to get it, who was absent this week. So The Miz fought Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston won. So Kofi Kingston will be in the Elimination Chamber. They had a gauntlet match to see who would be the last person to enter the Elimination Chamber, and Sheamus wound up winning that by kicking the fucking head off of Drew McIntyre again and pinning him at the end of the gauntlet match. So that Raw Elimination Chamber match is going to be for the WWE title.
Quick thing. Why was McIntyre in a gauntlet match when he was the champion?
Because he's defending the belt in the Elimination Chamber.
But, so he's already in the chamber. Why was he in a gauntlet match to get in the chamber?
No, the gauntlet match was to see who would be the last person to enter the chamber.
Oh, carry on.
Yeah, and Sheamus wound up winning that. But he's defending the belt. In the chamber is going to be Drew, AJ, Jeff, Kofi, Sheamus. Yeah, those 6.
So this is when The Miz cashes in. This is what you're telling me.
That's what The Miz was hinting at, and that's why he took himself out of the match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the U.S. title match is also up in the air, too, because Keith Lee is still out. Him and Mia Yim had COVID and recently got engaged. Congratulations, guys. But he hasn't been seen back on TV, and it was supposed to be a 3-way dance with Keith Lee, Bobby Lashley, and Matt Riddle. So that match is still up in the air now, too.
Unless our friend, the placeholder, remind me of the name, Weatherman. He's held more titles than anyone else.
R-Truth.
It's a joke, not a legitimate person. Jesus Christ. I can't think of it. It's not vacant. Maybe it is vacant. I don't know. I wouldn't be. I'm surprised.
Yes, it's vacant. Vacant, the greatest world champion ever.
There it is. Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't made Keith Lee vacate the title.
Keith Lee doesn't have the title.
The way you were talking sounded like he did. Who has the fucking title?
Bobby Lashley.
Then just throw someone else in there. Fuck. This shouldn't even be a problem.
But that wouldn't be good storytelling.
Since when did WWE give a shit about storytelling in the last 20 years? Have you heard nothing I've said for like 2 years?
Being shitty, and then when the opportunity to make it better or make it more relevant is there, you're just like, fucking just throw someone in there.
That's because he's not there to work. They're going to put a match on anyway. I doubt they're going, like, the only thing they can do is do a 2-way and then bring Keith Lee into something else later. It's not like they haven't done it before. What's going to stop them from doing it now? I mean, shit is shit is shit is shit, and so I'm not surprised at all that they would do something stupid for the sake of just getting things on and going instead of playing it smart, which you were suggesting, and waiting for Keith Lee to pop back. They're not going to go smart. They're going to go, let's get my money and put this match on because we want some belts to do stuff.
I'd rather them keep it as a one-on-one with fucking Lashley and Riddle, because throwing somebody else in the mix who wasn't in the mix is just fucking stupid and lazy. That's just having a 3-way dance for the sake of having a 3-way dance.
Stupid, lazy, just like that story arc from before, man.
No, not at all. That was making the best out of a situation.
Let the Becky Lynch got 9 off.
Yeah.
So Becky will get her time, or Lacey will get her time off once they run through this storyline. Like,
but she won't have
Becky
to
had
embarrass herself with this shitty fucking storyline.
In her storyline, she had the story that was going on. She had the opportunity to end it before she left on maternity leave by giving the belt over to Asuka, who won the WrestleMania fucking ladder match, Money in the Bank ladder match, to get the briefcase. And then she showed up and she presented her with the belt, and then she was gone. That storyline has come to an end. They're not done with the Lacey Evans and Charlotte Flair storyline just yet. They need to tweak it, and that's what they're doing. I don't think it's
how many times you say tweak it, it's never going to make that tweak good. Ever.
Well, I mean, they could always.
How many times did WWE nix the storyline because they just didn't like the way it was going?
So many
they've done that plenty of times. But so is AEW in their short history. So again, if you're going to compare, what the hell was that nightmare fucking thing with Brandy and fucking...
It was fucking trash is what it was, and they nixed it. Just like this story arc right here is fucking trash, and they need to nix it. But they're not.
But nix that whole thing with Brandy and everything else. We sat on this show and complained about it because it just fucking went away. Regardless of how bad it was, it just went away. I think that's the worst fucking idea for any fucking storyline. Is just ignore that it was ever there and just go on. No,
retconning has happened so many times in wrestling. It's par for the course again.
I prefer closure. I prefer a story to be completed.
The best closure for that story is to pretend it never happened.
Completed.
Just like I pretend almost everything after the fucking Monday Night Wars on WWE didn't happen, with the exception of like that brief pop here and there as like maybe 2009 to 14, somewhere around there. It's kind of okay-ish, but it's still garbage.
If they wanted to, they could still nix the storyline and close it out by just having Flair turn on Lacey right then and there, but nope. Couldn't do that. They gotta be knocked up by
that could still be a possibility.
If they do that, then I'll be fine with it.
Yet, not to keep going on this tangent, just fucking hire Snitsky for a one-off. It's over. Story over.
Fucking Snitsky. Then we got the SmackDown fucking elimination. Do we want to do prediction? Well, We can't even do fucking predictions on
Only
this
like
card.
2 matches. I mean,
They'll not
is Elimination Chamber this weekend?
This weekend, yes.
Fuck. I mean, there's no point in predicting on 2 matches. I mean, what are the 2 matches off the top other than the main Elimination Chamber thing?
That is it. The 2 Elimination Chamber matches. Those are the only ones.
There's the main. Are they just the U.S. title one and the other one, or is it? What are we talking about?
The U.S. title match with Lashley, Keith Lee, and Riddle, and then the Lacey Evans Asuka match. And let me see what else we got on that card. But there's only like 2 matches that are set in stone, and I'm pretty sure those are the only ones that are solid.
I just looked it up. I've got a McIntyre Styles Hardy that match. Asuka to be determined. Then we got the Bobby Lashley, Keith Lee, Riddle. Then we've got Uso, Owens, Corbin, Zayn, Cesaro, and Bryan. And then we've got Reigns versus the SmackDown winner.
Yeah, so whoever wins the SmackDown one has to fight Roman Reigns later in the night.
I think they'll probably make it Uso to make it real awkward.
Finger poke of doom. Keep the shitty storylines going.
Yep.
And last thing on WWE is Alexa Bliss teased the return of The Fiend.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's one thing, but let's not forget, because we got sidetracked a little bit right after we were talking about Vengeance. Our boy from NWA, Eli Drake, has officially left and signed with NXT as LA Knight. By far the worst fucking ring name I've heard in quite some time. But at least he kept the number of syllables so he can still do his Eli Drake. No, it's LA Knight. He still got it. And then a lot of yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He was doing it. And
Exactly.
got a promo where he came and he was standing in front of Stu Bennett and some other guy. And he's doing, it's the same exact character he did as Eli Drake.
100%.
It's LA.
I would like to know why he couldn't just keep the Eli Drake name.
Drugs.
Fair enough. I'll go with that. Drugs.
And also, Taya Valkyrie has signed with the WWE. She'll be reporting to the NXT brand with this upcoming class. Apparently, this upcoming class has a lot of people in it. There's like 20 people in the upcoming NXT class. So, yeah, she'll be on board. I think that's why Morrison wasn't on TV this week. I think they might have been doing something together, getting her ready to come in or something. Who the fuck knows?
Mm-hmm. What about well, that was honestly the biggest thing. Is you had one other final WWE topic, John?
Did I?
An arrest.
Oh, fuck yeah, dumbass. So this fucking. Oh, man. Fucking Teddy Hart got himself arrested again. So, Teddy Hart, his real name is Edward Ellsworth Annis.
Man.
I'll give him one thing. He's consistent.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he fucking got picked up again. Apparently, there's a Twitter account that is literally called "Is Teddy Hart in Jail?" and it is updated twice a day. So at
what does it say currently?
On February 16th, is Teddy Hart in jail? No.
Oh.
And then again at the evening update, yes. Inmate details. It's got a picture and everything. And apparently he was arrested this time for injuring a child or elderly or disabled person, evading arrest, and possession of controlled substances. And he is currently incarcerated in the Tarrant County Corrections Center. Dude, Okay, I liked Teddy Hart. Watching him wrestle in what was Wrestling Society X.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
MLW. The guy's got fucking talent as a cruiserweight technician. Outside of this ring, the guy is a fucking scumbag. Like he reminds me of me when I was in the Army. Because when I was a soldier and I was out in the field and I was doing what I did, I was fucking great. But when I was in garrison, I couldn't stay out of trouble. I was a fucking moron. A waste of fucking talent. And that's what this guy reminds me of. When he's in the fucking ring, he's a great fucking worker. He does the fucking... He looks good in the ring. But outside of the ring, man, what a fucking waste, dude. God damn.
Boy, oh boy.
And that's it for fucking WWE Power Hour. I did it in what, 20 minutes? Go
20 minutes. Not bad. Maybe 30, but not bad. That's pretty quick for you. Good job. Good job, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah, one win.
Well,
just to keep with fuck D'Lo Brown. Okay, we're good.
All right, there you go. I mean, you're gonna get to say that so many times later.
I'm getting a fucking double dose of D'Lo Brown this week, so I'm fucking getting it out there.
I'm not gonna lie, that sounds kind of like a euphemism, and I worry about your usage of that.
That's because you're a fucking perv.
Well, you're looking at the real deal now. You better recognize.
The timing of that was too good. But anyway, all right, so over to AEW for the last little bit of news before we start the main event of the evening. So apparently, Sammy Guevara turned down an angle with Impact because he didn't like the way it worked. Care to go into that a little bit more, Jonathan?
Yeah. So last week on the show, for anyone who was listening, I fucking interjected that Black Tortoise came out with Decay. So the word going around now is that Sammy Guevara was supposed to have an angle with Impact. He walked away from the Inner Circle last week and was supposed to do something else. He was supposed to be teamed up with fucking Decay. I don't know why they would put fucking Sammy G with Decay. They have dick in common at all. And I'm especially thankful they brought in Black Taurus because he fits the bill better than Sammy G ever would.
100%.
They pitched this idea. AEW was on board. Impact was on board. Sammy didn't like it too much, so he started making suggestions of his own and whatnot, and Impact just didn't like it, so they just cut him out and subbed him with Black Taurus. So apparently there's no heat on Sammy for it. He does have some support from people in AEW who are basically saying it was a shit story anyway. It was a shit gimmick, and they would have done the same thing. So, hopefully there's no, long-standing heat on him or anything. And supposedly there's no beef between AEW and Impact over the situation. So.
I doubt, even if there was, I doubt they'd do anything on it because they're going to milk that Kenny Omega cash cow for as long as they can.
Yeah, because they, Sammy G flew into Nashville, was in Nashville, landed, and when he got to the studios for taping, got a message from Jericho saying, dude, just go home. And that's what he did.
Mm-mm. Man, must be a son of a bitch to fly all the way somewhere, and then as soon as you get there, your boss is like, hey man, go home. Fuck. That was expensive. Hopefully AEW foot that flight.
Somebody.
I think they would have.
Yeah. I feel like AEW does pay for the travel of their talent, unlike old WWE rules. As Jericho has mentioned many times, where they had to pay for their flights and all their room and board out of their money.
Yeah, we know that that's the way it is with WWE. We don't know how it is with AEW. I haven't heard any reports in either direction that they do or that they don't.
I feel like I have heard that they do pay for it, but I could be mistaken. I could be misremembering something.
Juice Robinson has changed quite a bit.
I like that he no longer has the dreads.
You know who he reminds me of?
Who?
Bo Dallas.
I can see that a little bit, yeah.
Reminds me of Bo Dallas, who has been at SmackDown tapings and stuff, but they haven't been using him. They have no storyline for him, but we could be seeing a return of him sometime soon.
There we go. All right. Other AEW stuff. The women's tourney in Japan kicked off just yesterday, I believe it was. And
it was all.
Say what?
The four opening round matches aired on YouTube yesterday, but more than likely all the matches have already taken place.
I'm about 100% sure that's the case.
Well, here's why. You got to think about quarantine.
Yeah.
Because the title match is going to take place at Revolution.
And that's not long out. That's what, March
5th. The go home episode of Dynamite from the week before is where the US side and the Japanese side are going to face off.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bit more than 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
Whoever's flying in from Japan has to quarantine for 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
In order for that to happen, these matches have already fucking taken place. They've already been recorded, dude.
They probably happened the same day Sheeta touched down in Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
Same day, air quotes, the 2-week grace period once she landed, and then boom, 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 and then right back on plane.
Yeah, because whoever they're bringing stateside as the winner of that bracket is probably flying back with Sheeta within the next day or two, so that way they can, get that quarantine time in.
Quarantine and then get rehearsal time as well.
Yeah, because today's the 16th. 2 weeks, if they were to land in the States today, 2 weeks would
March
put up to
2nd or 3rd?
So, yeah, because we only got 28 days in February.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it has to have been over already. They've already got a winner, but we don't know who the hell it is because they ain't nobody spoiling it over there because they didn't have a whole lot of people in the audience.
No, but I mean,
and much to the chagrin of the AEW faithful, Piss and Shit Girl lost in the first round.
I did enjoy hearing about her story, though. That she was like a part of a Japanese girl band back in the day that performed at a wrestling event, and something happened with her head, and then she decided she wanted to be a wrestler because apparently she's got like a really hard head or some shit like that. But I thought that was pretty cool,
interesting angle.
Yeah, that she was a fucking, K-pop, a Japanese
J-pop.
Yeah, J-pop star and turned into wrestler. So that was cool. The whole piss and shit and all that stuff, she could have all that. But, Japanese Alexa Bliss, she was a good worker. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, who won their matches, John?
Okay, so let me see if I can get the brackets here. We had Emi Sakura Vemi, Vemi being the first Japanese transgendered wrestler. She's tall. Well, I'm sorry, I mispronouncing her. They're tall. She was really tall in the match. I noticed that. Good moves, kind of a high flyer, but the win went to Emi Sakura. Piss and Shit Girl took on Rio something or other, and Rio won that. Mm-hmm. We had the Magic Girl. What the hell is her name?
Oh.
You know who I'm talking about, the little genie.
Exactly who
Christina Aguilera?
Yuka Sakazaki.
Oh, yeah, Yuka.
She won her match.
Excellent.
And Aja Kong won her match.
Okay, that makes sense.
So those are the four that I can't believe I remember those names and those matches without looking them up. My fingers aren't quite fast enough to get them. But that's who we got moving forward. We got Rio, not Rio. Rio, Emmy, Aja Kong, and who the fuck did I miss? Yuka.
Well, what's going to happen? It's going to be probably Rio and Yuka going into the finals, and then between those two, I would almost safely say they're going to push the Japanese talent that's new, that we haven't seen, and push Rio through, and then it'll be Rio versus the winner of the U.S. bracket.
I just don't see anybody beating Aja Kong on that fucking side.
I know, but I just see it as just as what would possibly happen, because I think Emmy is going to put over her talent. She's not going to book herself into a finals position, because she's the one that runs the promotion that a lot of these girls are coming from. I see her
bracket is set up. You've got Yuka versus Emmy, and Rio versus Aja.
Okay, so it's the other way around. I was I was just going with the order that you went, so I thought that's the side they were on. Okay, so then it'll be Yuka over Emmy, and then maybe depending on how they book the match and play it out, Rio could still beat Aja, but I feel like they'll still put the new talent through instead of someone we've seen already.
We've seen every one of these women in AEW ring.
Have we? I don't remember some of them.
Yeah, Rio is Ryu Mizunami. She, if I remember right, she was in either a six-person match or a tag team match back in the day, early AEW. All the new talent got beat. Like the people we hadn't heard of, like Mei Suruga, Veni, who is also called Asuka over in Japan, Maki Ito, Piss and Shit Girl, and Rin Katakura. Those are all the new ones. Everyone else over there, everyone in the second bracket, we've seen every one of them.
Got you. Okay, because I didn't recognize her name. The other three, yeah, but I didn't recognize her. Then maybe I'll adjust and I'll put Yuka through, because I feel like it would be a more entertaining match.
I think Yuka versus, well, we don't know who's winning on the U.S. side either, because we still got Rio and Serena Deeb taking place tomorrow night.
They're not going to let Rio beat Serena Deeb, since Serena Deeb has the NWA belt.
Yeah, more than likely you're right on that. And that would give us a rematch between Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb.
Mm-hmm. And if they put a stipulation for the title match right there...
I'm lost. Where are we?
We're still doing the women's qualifiers.
Are you doing Riho and Serena Deeb?
Yeah, Deeb's going to win because she's got that NWA belt. There's no way they're going to give Riho that win.
I don't know. That's what's going to piss me off if she does.
It's going to cheapen the NWA title if they do it that way. It'll fuck shit up.
But it's Riho.
It's Kenny Omega's.
Also, she's been on the shelf forever.
I mean,
for state.
It doesn't matter. It's the 95-pound schoolgirl that gets Kenny off. You know she's going to fucking be in the damn main event.
I mean,
it's going to be an all Japanese main event. That's the whole point of this whole eliminator tournament. That's why she's in the U.S. bracket. It's a conspiracy. Put it on the QAnon boards.
That's fucking great. Oh God, I hope you're right.
I see it more as Serena Deeb's going to win. They're going to rematch with Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa's going to win that. That's going to set up an official rematch for the NWA title for Thunder Rosa against Deeb again, just to prove that it wasn't a fluke. And then
I agree with that side of the bracket. I think Thunder Rosa's going to make it to the finals in the U.S. side, and I think it'll be
key fact here. We're thinking about smart booking. We're not thinking about AEW booking.
Hey, they're not wrong all of the time. They're wrong. I'm gonna give benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna say they're wrong 45% of the time. 45. I'm gonna say they get more right than they get wrong, but it's barely.
49%.
I was gonna say 45% of the time they're right every time.
Well, I mean, they can't have as good odds as Sex Panther, so I mean, it is what it is. But that's what I see happening. I'm going to see Thunder Rosa going to the top of her bracket. I don't remember who's on the other side of the women's.
You got Tay Conti versus Nyla Rose, and you got Britt Baker versus Anna Jay.
Oh, it's gonna be fucking Baker and Thunder Rosa in the finals, so they can really hammer down the true finish of that feud. Because Baker hasn't beat her clean once, and Thunder Rosa's gonna dog her ass.
Yeah, but the question is, who's gonna beat Nyla Rose? Is it gonna be Tay Conti or is it gonna be Britt Baker?
It'll be Britt Baker, but it's not going to be clean.
It'll be an account out smudge.
I could see that happening. I truly could.
I see Britt Baker.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, they've really got to just get her in that picture, because let's go ahead and be real. She is the most over female wrestler they got.
Yep,
it's true.
There is no close second.
No.
Hikaru, I like Hikaru Shida, but she's
what?
not doing anything. Thunder Rose is technically not there, so I can't count her.
That's fair. That's fair.
So that's the situation.
Your parents went away for a week's vacation.
No, he said that's the situation.
I mean, if I had the money, sure, I guess. Maybe if you listen. I don't have the money.
But yeah, I feel like it's going to come down in the finals to Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. And personally, I'm going to push Thunder Rosa through, regardless of whether that's going to happen or not. Because more than likely, if it does come to Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa, if they don't push Baker through, it'll be a detriment to Baker in the women's division. But at the same time, I prefer Thunder Rosa, and I want her to finally come out on the winning end of their feud. I do. And with everyone jumping ship from NWA, I'm just waiting for the word that Thunder Rosa officially signs with AEW, so they just go ahead and give her all the belts. But
yeah, who do they have left? Nick Magnus, Camille, Elijah Pope, and the fucking
Trevor Murdoch.
Trevor Murdoch. Yeah. I mean,
that's
What happened to karate?
Oh, the question mark's still there, but he's probably back to being
Josephus.
Yeah, Josephus. They've still got Aaron Stevens.
Shooter.
Yeah, Shooter Stevens. There's a chance they still have Homicide, even though Eddie Kingston left, but Homicide was out injured when everything shut down, so who knows?
They got those other two guys that are with Magnus.
Royce Isaacs and fuck, I forget the other one's name. The Wild Cards. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, Wild Cards. That's what they're called.
And then they've got those the brothers.
Those big guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they've got a little bit, but
yeah, they can't have much left on their fucking.
They are hemorrhaging their best talent. Just hemorrhaging. It's crazy. If they don't have a belt, they're leaving.
Mm-hmm.
So who
They need to get back into producing shows. They need to start doing shows again, because if not, they're shutting. The only thing keeping them alive is the fucking Smashing Pumpkins touring schedule.
Yeah, that could also be the reason why I did not do anything. But yeah, so let's go ahead and start the first of the three-phase final for the evening. Our big comparison of past versus present, with leaving this past Monday's Raw out of the mix because modern Raw is just hot doo-doo, so we'll leave that alone. But yeah, so Dynamite last week. How do we want to start it off?
I'm getting fucking tired of Sting coming out and not talking and not doing anything. We're going to have an interview with Sting this week, and there goes Darby Allin in a fucking body bag. And we're going to have an interview with Sting this week, and here comes some fucking snow. Like, shit or get off the fucking pot with Sting, because this shit is getting boring.
I can agree.
I agree as well. I still enjoy seeing Sting, but they need to do something with him. And just the fact that they put it so far out, I was like, I'm not going to forget Sting exists if you don't bring him on TV this week. I promise.
You know the craziest part of this? Because we are doing this comparison. 24 years ago, Sting, Jacksonville, WCW Nitro. What does he do? He comes down from the crowd. DDP's there, gives him the bat, and fucking walks away. Him and the Macho Man. It hasn't fucking changed in 24 years. He's still doing the same shit. They just added fucking snow.
I like the snow.
And the soul patch.
Oh, yeah, and the soul patch. But I mean, God, I'm sitting there watching the Nitro, and I'm just like, okay, here's Sting. Maybe something cool will happen. No, not at all. He comes down, gives him a bat, shows him his back, and then fucking leaves. That's it.
It was very similar to a lot of the Sting shit they're doing right now. Very, very similar.
Fucking identical. Just add snow.
Damn near it. But what was the first match on Dynamite this past week? It slipped my mind.
Hold on, I got the match card here.
Excellent.
Joey Janela versus Darby Allin.
Yes, there you go.
I enjoyed that match. I did.
Yes, it's probably the best Janela match I've seen that didn't involve bullshit.
It was the best Janela match I've seen that didn't involve a lot of gimmick weaponry.
I mean, he still looks like shit, but at least he. I gotta make comparisons to Darby Allin and Rey Mysterio in 1997.
Continue.
He seems to be able to work with everybody.
Darby can work with everyone.
And if you notice, when he's got some muscle building. He's been in the gym because when he flexes, you can see them muscles popping out. So he's starting to maybe put on a little bit of beef to him.
He may be, but if he gets too big and loses that lanky look, it's going to mess with things. I think it won't be quite as he won't be able to play that underdog angle as well. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He's got a ways to go, though. He's going to need to put on 40 to 50 pounds of muscle to lose.
He's going to have to pull a Mysterio is what he's going to do. He's going to disappear for a week and come back fucking burly. It's ridiculous. It was almost like Eddie Guerrero. It's like one day he's a cruiserweight, the next day he's fucking heavyweight. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, Eddie, what did you do? I ate all the steroids. I ate them all.
He ate China.
Oh, God. Please don't.
Other things I'll say for my notes on this match. It was dive 3 minutes in after the bell. We didn't see that in any of the other shows.
Yep.
Darby takes buckles as good as Bret Hart or Chris Benoit.
Darby can take a buckle like a motherfucker.
And to me, he needs to put a fucking class on for the rest of them. And his dives look, like I said before, his dives always look legit. My problem in this match, Darby was working the arm, and Janela no-sold the arm they've been working, or he would forget that he was supposed to sell the arm.
Yeah. The only arm thing that I'll compare it to, and I don't want to jump the gun too early because I want to save it for later. Remind me to come back to it. Put a pin in it. Is the arm work from the 97 Raw episode we watched for this comparison, and in the Rocky and Triple H match. I'll see if anyone else noticed what I noticed, or possibly noticed. So I'm going to put a pin in that for arm work as well. But yeah, Janela, I personally, it's like part of me wants to chalk it up to Janela just being Janela. I mean, motherfucker jumped off a damn roof into like a bed of a truck full of fucking glass and bullshit, nearly died, and he's still going, doing the same shit. I really don't think a bunch of arm bars are going to phase it, if we want to play it that angle. But I get where you're coming from, 100%.
He didn't sell it because he's tougher than that.
Yeah. But I do get where you're coming from with him.
And the ultimate problem, when I first saw this match, I thought, well, this was going to be the first 25 minutes of the show. It actually went 11 minutes. And the matches on this whole show did not really, except for the main event, did not take forever.
They had a good pace this past week, I thought. A good pace.
They had a good pace this week, but the format was god-awful.
Mm-hmm. Continue. Expound on your thoughts on the format.
Well, we had 8. Either they were backstage segments, interviews, or stupid comedy skits. Mm-hmm. Now, Nitro, we had interviews, but they flowed with the program. And a lot of it was post-match, hey, what about this? Or the infamous Gene Okerlund sitting at the front of the stage, and this time let me introduce you to so-and-so, and they come out and they cut a promo. It wasn't a lot of just, well, there's something happening backstage. Or,
yeah.
Let's go.
There weren't a lot of cutaways.
Yeah, there was no cutaways. It flowed with the program.
Mm-hmm.
Randy Anderson did not flow in that program.
No, we'll
get to that. We ain't going to the time
save
machine
that
yet.
That one's too choice a nugget to blow too early. Let's wait.
And there was some very bad foreshadowing in that promo too.
Yeah, I agree. It's like the one thing about the AEW show that does get to me a little bit is there are far too many like cutaways. It's like they want the same, like they want you to see everyone every week, and I'm just like, okay. I love the Dark Order.
How are you going to miss me if I don't go away?
Yeah, I love the Dark Order. I don't need to see them every week.
I have some on the Dark Order when we see them later.
But just like I said before, love Sting to death. Don't need to see him every week. I'm not going to forget he exists. I haven't forgot he existed like for 20 plus years now. I mean,
the Janela and Darby, we have to talk about it. The coffin drop to the release German.
Oh, that was nice. That was a smooth transition. That's the one thing about most of these AEW matches that I'll give you is anyone that does a reverse, like a combo like that, or any of the combos, like the weird, like they catch them into an arm drag, anything like that, they're all so like staccato and stuttered. There's no smooth flow to it. That one was the perfect catch, and he used the momentum and went with it. It looked natural. It's not like where everyone does that off the top, over the head, grab the arm, like arm drag that everyone likes to do now, where they're supposed to drop all the way and use their body weight to pull them over. Instead, they hit their feet and then they fall down, and the person still takes like 30 seconds to do the flip. It irks me. There's no flow, but that combo had a good flow.
I don't know what the backstage segment was after this match. I just put backstage segment, yay.
We're talking about Kenta and the Forbidden Door.
Oh. After that, the show started off good, and then it started turning to shit.
So after that,
we get the Cody Ego entrance.
Oh God!
Yay!
I fast forward through every Cody entrance every time now.
After that, you got Mox talking about Kenta, saying that he's been calling him out for months. He wasn't surprised at what happened, and that Kenta wants the U.S. Championship. He says February 26th is a sanctioned match, but tonight is just for fun. And then they go back to backstage with the Inner Circle, where MJF comes back, or Sammy comes back there, and MJF and everyone else leaves the room, and MJF is recording him, and Sammy punches him in the rib, which leads to all that shit.
Yeah.
Then after the commercial break, you got Cesar Bononi and Peter Avalon versus the Nightmare Family of Cody and Shawnee Lee Johnson, who has been signed finally to an official AEW contract.
This match made no sense for what they were wanting to do.
They wanted to give Lee Johnson a win. That's it.
It was a tag match.
Yeah.
If you're going to push the angle, I've lost and lost and lost. I finally won. Why not have him have Avalon job to him? Avalon can sell worth a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Let Avalon
it's because Cody needed his night on TV again.
And well, no, it gets even worse than that. In the promo, he has to thank Cody. He has to thank Brandy. Doesn't thank QT. If you notice, QT kind of looks at him like you forgot to mention me.
Yeah, just going to tell you, they're setting up a Lee Johnson versus QT Marshall angle down the road. That's why he didn't thank QT.
Mm-hmm.
But, this would have went over better if it had been a singles match. Because it was a shitty tag match.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was.
It was bad.
I think the Bob Holly Salvatore match was better than this.
Aldo Montoya!
Oh, God. I always forget about Mullen and Bob Holly.
Oh, it was Aldo Montoya. Why did I write Salvatore?
It's about the same.
Yeah.
Dude, Aldo Montoya becomes just incredible.
Hey, guess what happens after this match?
A vignette.
A pre-recorded segment.
Yay!
And the interviews were pointless. She was just standing there with a mic that probably wasn't even plugged up.
Oh, the Young Bucks and the Good Brothers?
Yeah. And guess what happened after this? Another backstage segment. This time,
Man Page.
Now here's my point. Now this one I want you to pay attention to. Look in the background at Anna Jay and how her body language is. She's sitting there with her arms crossed, like she's getting fed up with them all. I'm expecting any point now for Anna Jay to take over, for her to just go off on all of them, just take over as the leader. That's what I think.
Saying that -1 is the leader. Right now, that's what they're saying.
We know this, but I'm waiting for Anna Jay to do something to kind of move into like a higher position to boss all these idiots around, because
she's gonna snap, she's gonna bitch them all out, and she's gonna start throwing papers. If they're gonna keep them the comedy group, I'm okay with the paper throw. Just let them.
Well, she needs to change it to throwing tampons.
No,
that's Priscilla Kelly, and she can't do that no more because she's in NXT.
Yeah. It was this week that Hangman pulled the fast one on Hardy, right?
Yeah.
That's later on in yet another pre-recorded segment.
Yes. Yeah. That is the curse of AEW right now. There are so many pre-recorded segments.
So, our next match on the card, ladies and gentlemen. Pac versus Ryan Nemeth. Key thing to point out here, when Nemeth comes out, his little name tag said he beat Marco Stunt on Dark the night before. So, I guess he got away from FTR.
Yes, he did. He is not kidnapped anymore.
And Ryan Nemeth beat Marco Stunt. Big fucking accomplishment, buddy. I am so proud of you. You're going to be just like your brother.
Live up to his brother.
My 17-year-old kid could beat Marco Stunt.
And this was a squash. And I don't know if I mentioned this last week or today, or to Will
it was
off
just me
camera.
and you last week after we were done.
Pac needs to just drop the Black Arrow, except for a special occasion. Or if he's going to do it, he's going to have to miss it every time because he takes so long up there. Just do the submission.
Yeah.
It's
the
over.
Brutalizer needs to be his go-to, and the Black Arrow needs to be something he only pulls out in like grudge matches. Something to add insult to injury and really drive the fact home that he's beat them handedly. I agree with Letterman on that one because it does take him forever to get balanced and do it. Because
this was a quick squash match, and that was what it needed to be because Pac needed to get over. Well, he's already over, but you know what I mean. He needed just to dominate.
Yeah.
And what came next?
Yet another pre-recorded segment. I think this was the golf segment, wasn't it?
No, this one was the Orange Cassidy, Miro.
Oh, this one was the real shitty backstage segment that was phony and hokey and made not a fucking lick of just shit on wrestling.
I liked the only part that I liked was the Orange Cassidy and Chucky T part. It made sense. The rest of it, I was just like, he's just fucking rambling.
But you cut to them automatically. You get what I'm saying.
It was one of those things where it's like they should have said that, and then the cut to them should have happened far later.
It should have been later in the night.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but dude, Miro's mic work is fucking horrible.
Why do you think he had Lana?
The microphone.
Why do you think he had Lana in WWE?
Fucking mouthpiece.
I hope he gets better at it. I mean, it's not the worst I've ever heard.
It's bad. I think a lot of it has to do with the, English as a second language.
Yeah. It's not Vader bad, but it's rough.
But Vader always had a mouthpiece.
It's true. It's true.
And I'll get into that fucked up scenario. There's a lot of crossing streams when we get to that on Raw.
And personally, I'm past ready for Miro to drop the best man gimmick and do something else.
No, he's going to keep it around for a little bit longer because Kip Sabian's still injured.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the case, but I'm ready for it to be gone because it's run its course. I wasn't super for it to begin with, and I'm kind of ready for that magical realization where Miro's going to be like, you know what, he's holding me back, and he cold cocks him and goes off and does his own thing, and just runs train on everybody.
So then after that segment with Miro and Chucky T and Orange Cassidy, what came next?
Oh, you wouldn't believe it, a backstage interview
with the Inner Circle.
Oh boy.
I think this is where MJF blamed Sammy for punching him in the gut.
Well, that one happened, and then it wound up moving into the ring, did it not?
Well, this was the MJF Jericho versus the Acclaim match.
Oh, God, what a fucking awful match.
I didn't watch it. I kind of zoned out through it, but I do say the Acclaim need to get with John Cena and learn how to do the right
I hate the Acclaimed. Almost as much as I hate MJF. Almost.
MJF is awesome. The Acclaim
But
suck.
MJF sold the ribs that whole match and didn't forget.
He didn't. He did not forget. That MJF...
Some build up to this match with MJF and Anthony Bowen's boyfriend. Apparently, Anthony Bowens, I didn't know he was gay, but apparently his boyfriend and MJF got into a Twitter spat before the match.
MJF.
I will complain about Aubrey here. She didn't try to get the illegal man out. She didn't count the 5. She didn't give a shit. She needs to do better. All the referees need to do better.
Aubrey's usually on her shit. This was one of those matches where I'm almost certain Jericho kind of called the shots on that one.
Aubrey was thinking about me the whole match. It was distracting to her.
Okay.
Well, make a long story short, shitty match. Jericho huff and puffed.
Oh yeah, he looked rough, man.
We thought he was
He's been dogging those Omaha steaks too much, man.
Oh yeah.
All that magic spoon Omaha steaks.
No, he needs to get some athletic greens.
He needs to do a little more than DDPY.
If he's even doing that.
Well, he's apparently doing it before every AEW show, so his commercial says. Backstage all the time.
That's not good publicity for DDPY. But anyway, Sammy quit the Inner Circle. Yay!
Hey, how long ago did we say that was going to happen? Really? It's been quite some time we said Sammy was going to dip. And it finally did.
And then we go to commercial, we come back, and guess what?
Oh yeah, another backstage segment, right?
Yeah. And Sammy says he's got to get away from this place. And I feel him. I really feel him.
And
True
then
words.
another backstage segment with Matt and Hangman.
The Matt and Hangman one is one that made a little bit of sense.
It made a lot of sense for storyline, but why does the camera have to be there?
Yeah. I mean, if the camera's not there, it didn't happen, basically. But I did like seeing Hangman get a run up on Big Money Matt, and I'm just ready to see what Hangman's substituted contract says.
Well, we'll find out this week because Private Party, Matt Hardy, and Hangman Page versus the Hybrid 2 and the Chaos Project, I think.
Oh, God, that's going to be a shit fest.
It's going to be the Hybrid 2 looking really fucking good. It's going to be Hangman looking good.
Oh, no, it's going to be Chaos Project bringing the whole fucking show down.
It's true. It's true. Dr. Luther, I think, is he's an attraction, but he needs to be saved for, again, special occasions.
That tag team is an attraction. I like watching them. There's certain aspects of their matches I really enjoy. Like when he uses Serpentico as a fucking weapon.
Human weapon?
I think that shit's funny as hell.
I like that too, I do.
Throws them all around and throws them into people and everything else, but they need to be used a little bit more sparingly.
Yeah.
Okay, after this we go to commercial, we come back, and guess what? We have an interview! This time it's on the stage, and it starts snowing!
Oh,
Even Tony Schiavone's getting tired of saying, "It's Sting." Huh?
I never thought I'd hear Tony Schiavone get tired of saying it's Sting, but he's slowly losing his steam. It's really slight, but he's not holding that ing as long as he used to.
Sting comes out, starts to talk, and then Taz interrupts. And guess what we have this now? A backstage segment. Darby gets drug off in a body bag.
And Sting runs away.
Well, no. It gets better than that. And so Excalibur says Sting is in hot pursuit. He walks slightly faster than normal, or he walks with a purpose.
He walks with a purpose. He power walks away.
We go to commercial. Guess what we get when we come back?
Marvez on the golf course.
Yep. In a suit. On the golf course. This is going to rank as my award for biggest insult to golf and professional wrestling of the year.
Well, one, anything that's not Happy Gilmore or Payne Stewart or Jack Nicholson and a handful of other professional golfers is an insult to golf.
Side note, it's the 25th anniversary of Happy Gilmore.
Oh,
Happy birthday.
I'm super glad I made that reference then. That makes my night.
Will, I'm going to let you take care of this next match, even though I did love it. I think it was the best match of all the shows.
Oh?
Well, of the current day product.
Okay.
Thunder Rosa versus Layla Hirsch was next on the card.
Oh, boy.
We have wrestling.
Yeah, we did. I mean, there were a couple missteps, but that's only because Layla Hirsch is short. But, damn it, both of those two work really, really well, and both of them have actual mat game.
Mm-hmm.
Thunder Rosa because of her MMA work, and Layla Hirsch because of her amateur wrestling, they gelled very, very well. My biggest complaint in that entire thing, Layla Hirsch needs to not use the moonsault as often as she wants to. Once in a blue moon, save it. Keep it special. Don't go to it. It's not her strong suit. avoid. Because that's, I mean, we knew she wasn't going to beat Thunder Rosa. It wasn't going to happen. It's guaranteed. But they made each other look damn good.
She needs to stick with her ground games and her suplexes. She needs to be a female fucking Taz. That's how to market Layla Hirsch as the female suplex machine.
Oh, God. Yeah, give her a heel turn and put her with Team Taz.
Oh, my God, yeah. Dude, have Taz come out after her losing a match and be like, I can teach you this shit. I'm the human suplex machine. You could be the next, suplex machine. And, dude, that would work so fucking good. I could see her as a heel, too.
I could. I think that would
Russia
well.
as a background kind of thing. Fuck yeah, dude. That would work.
Mm-hmm. I think that would work because also just seeing her be this, well, for lack of a better phrase, tiny powerhouse beside all these gargantuan dudes would be super funny, but at the same time make total sense.
You know who they did that with? Nikki Cross.
Uh-huh.
And it worked.
But I think
Sanity. When she was with Sanity, she was a little cock diesel beast. And it worked so fucking well. And then when they main rostered her and took her away from Sanity, it went away. But when they had her with Sanity, that was her spot. She was that little buff fucking freak crazy chick, and it was fucking awesome.
I want good things to come.
I don't know if Taz could do any in-ring work, like not nothing major. But I'm saying for a vignette purpose, have like him and Layla in the ring. They just got some jobber and she's just suplexing the fuck out of her, or him, and it's like a little jobber guy, and then Taz goes, no, this is how you do it. And he just fucking just.
That's the exact thing.
I suplex the fuck out of him.
Even better, he passes down the Taz mission to her.
Woo.
Yeah.
And then she ditches the moonsault.
Hook
and
might have a problem with that.
Say what?
Hook might have a problem with that.
Hook might, but at the same time, I would still say Hook's more green than Layla Hirsch.
Oh, absolutely.
And she has a more grounded wrestling style akin to Taz's.
She'd be the female, though, so it'd be okay.
My other thought is, get your own damn legacy.
Fair enough.
You already fucking ruined the figure 4 with a fucking bridge.
Perfect.
Next up, we had a backstage segment. What the fuck? Thunder Rosa for the win, by the way.
Yeah.
Next up, we had Tony with Jungle Boy backstage. Where Jungle Boy says he wants to talk to FTR. And that he and Dax had a match.
Oh, are they still selling the angle that Marco still captured because he wrestled Nemeth the night before?
No, they were playing.
I didn't watch Dark. Maybe FTR was nearby and they unhandcuffed him and it's like, okay, do your match. And
they had an ankle bracelet on him.
They had a fucking shock collar on him.
Yeah. You're done. Tap.
And they hit the invisible fence on him, and it knocks him out. Oh my god. Well, the good news was that was the last fucking backstage segment of the night.
Yeah, so we're in the main event. And yeah, you know what's great about Raw and Nitro? There was not a single no DQ match on both shows.
That is true. Now, the thing is like, I can get behind a no DQ match. That doesn't bother me too much.
Every week.
Have they done it every week, though?
It's been a lot.
Seems like it.
Okay, if they've done it every week, the one too many times to the well. True.
Yeah. Couple things that I liked about this match. We finally got to see the fucking briefcase. Kenta came out with it.
I know, it's like they heard us last week when we were saying he should have brought out the briefcase. At least now, he's given everyone a visual of the briefcase, and he fucking used it.
Yep, and he used it as a weapon. We got to see Mox with the IWGP US Championship for the first time on an AEW program. He came out with the belt and fucking potatoes. Those were my favorite three things on the match.
I know. I had to send Weatherman the message after I watched it last week. I was like, Weatherman, just wait and see all the potatoes that fucking Mox and Archer are throwing in this match. Just because
you know what tuned me out of this match? Justin Roberts.
Yeah.
Yeah! You know that's starting to become my new Mamma Mia! So I feel you on that, Weatherman. It's starting to piss me off too.
Oh, and then on top of that, something about Kenny Omega always then somehow turns to North Carolina. Kenny Omega ain't from here. Fuck out of our state.
It's a Chicago Bulls reference from when they used to announce Michael Jordan in Chicago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's not Michael Jordan.
But
That's
he's
not
going
the
to
point.
consider
It's
himself
just
one
a
of the
parody.
best wrestlers in the world, so he's going to reference one of the best athletes ever. So that's kind of what
People
they're
ain't gonna get. AEW fans aren't gonna get that.
Well, some did.
I mean,
I don't mind
I
their
did,
entrance.
and I don't even
I
watch
find it
that.
amusing some of the stuff that they come up with. So I actually listen when Justin Roberts does his cleaner entrance, and I like watching the girls with the brooms. So
Yeah, mostly it's John likes watching the cleaner girls.
Yeah.
Now, Justin Roberts, I do enjoy how the North Carolina changes every time. Something else, North Carolina. That's the running gag. You never know what's coming next. I feel like it was like from a fucking like goddamn Krispy Kreme or some shit last week. I don't remember. Maybe it was from a Gold's Gym. Who knows? But it's like something random that's North Carolina's halfway.
Something about Asheville, I think he said.
Say what?
Said something about Asheville, I thought.
I know he says that every time he introduces FTR, but he may have. But it's always kind of interesting. I like Justin Roberts, but sometimes I'm like, save a little bit for a pay-per-view, Justin. This is just Wednesday night, buddy. You're at 10, we need you at a 2. Okay? 10s are for pay-per-views, 2s are for TV. This match was not awful, but my biggest part that took me out of the match was all the cutaways from the different sections. I prefer a hardcore match that flows smoothly around the backstage area, like the ones from back in the day where they literally followed them around and they didn't have the rough jump cuts. So that way, to get them from one area backstage to the next. All the ones in this one were super noticeable. They weren't hidden in like some of the older shows with like commercial breaks, etc. It was like, okay, they're fighting in the kitchen. Cut. Okay, now they're coming down the ramp beside the building towards the ring. I'm like, oh, cool. How'd they get there?
Well, at least nobody transformed this time.
Bad.
Say what?
Kitchen work was not good.
The kitchen work left a lot to be desired outside of the throwing potatoes.
What was it? The DDT on top of the tables and the tables split?
Well, honestly, that made sense. The part that I didn't like about the tables was the fact of the ref noticeably holding them in place for them.
Yeah.
That was the part that bothered me. I mean, fucking kick the lock on the wheels.
Well, the only thing I gave a shit about this match was, the only thing I really liked was the foot stomp, because of the way it was done. Kenta missed, but he hit the foot stomp.
Yep.
And then I tuned out.
Yeah, I know. Weatherman also said the GTS looked better this week.
Yeah, it did.
Much, much better. Avalon sold it like a motherfucker. That's one thing he's good at. He will sell.
You mean Moxley?
No. Avalon, when he hit him outside.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Mox didn't sell the GTS very well at all last week, or a week before last. This past week when Kenta hit Avalon because Avalon got in his way in front of his little heart bed, Avalon sold the shit out of it. But yeah, that match, it was really clunky, and the only reason it halfway made sense is because all four of them had wrestled in New Japan, but Moxley's pairing with Archer was just, it seemed a little slapdash to me.
Oh, really? Because they're doing it again tomorrow night.
Like I said.
Lance Archer, Ray Phoenix, and John Moxley in the three-way. I can't remember who they're going against.
That's pretty erotic.
But yeah, there's a bunch of issues with the booking, like in the pacing. That, like, again, for me, it's the jump cuts, it's the weird teamings, things like that. For that main event. Again, the best matches of the night, really, were Thunder Rosa. And what was the other one that I liked?
Darby and Janela.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That was me too.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. The rest of them, varying degrees of success, but most leaving a little wanting. I'm going to always put a Kenta match high up there because Kenta, I think he does good work. And his missile, like stalled drop kicks are amazing. They look good every time he does them, and Into That Trash Can was even better. But that match is probably like third or fourth on my list. Hirsch, Janela, there's the two. Number one, Hirsch Rosa. Number two, Darby Janela. 3, the final. Everything else below. Very, very worst match of the night. Bar none. Cody's tag match.
Oh,
Did he get injured in that match too?
Who?
Yes.
Yeah, Cody.
They're saying that he got injured on that, and they're not sure what that's going to mean for the match against Shaq.
From what I hear, it's business as usual. It's going to happen.
That's what I'm hearing too. That they're hoping it was a slight tear of the rotator cuff, if I remember right.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you have matches you shouldn't have had in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Well, so we've talked about some of the pros and cons of the current product. So let's move on to the WCW show from '97.
Y'all want me to kick in on this?
Yeah, go ahead. Give us that first match, Weather.
All right, get back in your Wayback Machines, get in your Porta-John TARDISes, and we're going to head back to February 10th, 1997. WCW Monday Nitro, live on TNT from the Jacksonville Coliseum in Jacksonville, Florida. That arena is no longer standing. It was torn down in 2003, replaced by a newer building in the same spot. We opened the show. The announcers welcome us to Nitro. We opened the show with Dean Malenko versus Eddie Guerrero. This is a champion versus champion match. Dean holding the Cruiserweight title, Eddie holding the United States title. And this is going to be stuck in the middle of the infamous Six stealing belts angle. Six has currently stolen Dean's Cruiserweight title. Eddie got his United States title back the week before on Nitro. And this match will probably be ranked, we're going to argue, to be probably the match of all the shows. Because it's Dean Malenko and fucking Eddie Guerrero.
Oh, it is by far one of the best matches of all three of these shows, and the best of the two retro programs for sure.
Yeah. Well, Six came out first, tried to take the U.S. belt again, but David Penzer stopped him, and Eddie chased him off. Then when they got in the ring, that's when it got good. Started off slow on the ground, good ground game wrestling, and it picked up into that cruiserweight style. Not a bunch of flips and jips, but just fast-paced moves.
fast work and loads of counter wrestling.
Oh yeah.
Loads of counter wrestling. Like, that's the one thing about the like late 90s cruiserweight wrestling that I enjoy. Is like, yeah, sure, they do some flips and some fun stuff, but mostly it's just fucking fast and really, really technical. It's not just we're going high risk because we're smaller dudes and we can do it.
Well, the high risk guys were primarily the luchadors.
It's true. But like I said,
and they were the flash of the division. They wasn't really the, really Ray Jr. and maybe Juventud were the standout luchadors of all of them. The rest of the time it was Dean, Jericho, and Eddie.
Yeah. Let's see. Is there anyone else I would factor in there?
I think Psychosis held it for a little while.
I would throw Alex Wright and Billy Kidman in there personally.
Alex Wright was more of a TV champ, though.
Yeah, but he still did good work cruiserweight wise. Even though he kind of fell in that weird middle ground between a cruiser and a heavy, he wasn't really either one.
He was just a dancing man.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
he was.
He had a match on that card too.
Yeah, he did, and it was decent. It was a decent match.
Yeah. And pretty much this match kept going back and forth. And Sid came out and tried to take Eddie's belt again, and Eddie got counted out trying to chase.
I like that it was a storyline finish, and it was believable.
Yes, that's the key thing. And the referee counted, and it was constant counting. It wasn't
the long, drawn-out pause.
You didn't hold a 6 count for 12 hours.
No. It was the old school steady 10.
Or stop counting.
Yeah.
And also what made this great was Larry Zbyszko's commentary on the replays.
Zbyszko.
I miss Larry Zbyszko.
I do too.
I always thought he was fun.
He was good on commentary. I thought he was trash in the ring personally, but good on commentary. Damn good.
Well, we come to commercial and we
Nabisco.
Say what now?
I used to always call him Larry Nabisco.
Works for me. He was a cracker.
Yeah.
Is that not his name? Larry Nabisco?
Larry Nabisco? Larry, my name starts with a Z, and then it's got a few more consonants before it finally starts making sense.
Well, we come back from commercial, and we alluded to earlier in the show. DDP come out and cut a promo. He's not going to run anymore from the NWA. He called out anyone. Guess who comes out from the crowd? It's Sting and Randy Savage, who, to my disbelief, I thought he was already in the NWO at this point, but apparently he was in a limbo phase.
Yeah, he was in that phase where Bischoff had kicked him out of WCW, so he wasn't allowed to perform, but he wasn't fired. He was a loose cannon. He was a rogue. He was basically a member of Sting's weirdo emo brood.
Is this tradition?
As is tradition. But yeah.
The black and white crew.
Yeah. We're not NWO, but everyone thinks we're NWO because we're wearing black and white. But this is foreshadowing that Macho's going NWO, but Sting is only kind of, sort of going NWO.
At a later date.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, Sting comes out and they don't really talk. Especially, this is weird, especially for Savage not talking, but they poke him with the bat and they turn their backs to him, let him hit him, trying to let him hit him with the bat, and he doesn't, and they just take the bat and walk away.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go to commercial and we come out, probably the worst match of the whole 3 shows, Bobby Eaton and Conan.
God, it was so fucking bad. There were so many missteps and miscues. Conan, it's rare that Conan looks bad wrestling, in my opinion, but this match was fucking awful.
And Bobby Eaton is known, this is the thing, Bobby Eaton's known for working with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And here's my favorite part, and this is the funniest takeaway from this match. Conan was legit wearing plastic shell elbow pads.
Yep.
He was wearing real deal, like skateboarding / rollerblading elbow pads. That shit would not fucking fly
like a
today. He would knock the fucking shit out of somebody with those things today.
But for as bad as it was only 3 minutes long. But it seemed like it was longer.
It really did. That match was so bad.
Yeah.
Well, we go to commercial, they come back, guess what we had? A recap.
Oh, I was going to say a 1-800-COLLECT commercial.
No, Lee Marshall's later on.
Yeah, it's true.
We come back from the break, and we get the recap of Hall and Nash jumping Luger with lead pops backstage. Ron Powers comes to the ring. Luger comes out with a cast on. He's cut off by Bischoff. He said he can't compete with that broke hand. If he doesn't have a doctor's release by the end of the night, he's out of the tag match at Super Brawl. So in storyline, he's trying to get Hall and Nash from having to defend the titles against Luger and the Giant, because he knows they're probably going to lose.
And it sets it up because the Giant comes out and takes Luger's spot, squash, and then the Giant
wardrobe malfunction.
Say what?
Wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah. His fucking arm, his little singlet strap kept sliding down. They finally just pulled it over, but it's set up for the Giant pretty much doing a little one-to-one with Luger, saying he's like, I'm going to wrestle a fucking handicap match for the both of us, and I'm going to win some belts. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
And then we go backstage, where, with very typical of Nitro in this time, a limo pulls up, and it's Hall and Nash arriving with Big Bubba Rogers, formerly the Big Boss Man.
That was the funniest thing. I was like, I totally forgot he was fucking NWO for a little while.
That's exactly what I thought. That's exactly what I thought. Totally forgot he was in the NWO.
So, we go to another break, and we come back, and guess what? We have a wrestling match, and it's going to be a stiff potato match.
Oh, boy.
And there's some gas in the ring on this, because it's High Voltage versus the Steiner Brothers. And for just bring everybody up to date, Super Brawl 7 is only 2 weeks away, and there's going to be a fatal four-way. Well, back then it was going to be called a four corners elimination match for number one contenders for the tag titles, with Harlem Heat, the Faces of Fear, Public Enemy, and the Steiners.
Oh, I was so happy to see fucking Rocco Rock and company. I was like, Public Enemy, yes! I was so stoked.
And this is a loaded group of 4 tag teams.
No shit. All of them work mean as fuck. Out of all 4 of those tag teams, the weakest one, still one of my favorites, is Public Enemy, because, I mean, they got dogged when they went to ECW.
Mm-hmm.
But they were tough as nails in the WCW world, but when they went to ECW, they were fucking punk bitches. But just imagine what would have happened if fucking Haku and Barbarian had gone to damn ECW and got to work stiff like that.
They would have been in jail, and Paul Lee couldn't have got them out.
I know.
It's down.
Hell, if in their prime Booker and Stevie Ray had went, it'd have been nasty. Fucking the Steiners would have been pretty raw there too. But out of that is probably the stiffest working fatal four-way I've ever truly seen.
And the High Voltage match was an average match, but here's some key points to take away. All the tags were legal, and there wasn't no backslap tag.
There weren't any blind tags. Yeah.
And the highest on this match was the Steiner Bulldog, and it was damn good.
It was nice. This was refreshing. I like seeing good tag work. As much as I like a blind tag from a strategic point of view, I don't like it because if it's a blind tag, the ref shouldn't see it.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. It's like, I see the point of the blind tag for a strategy and how it's used nowadays, but it's overused as well. It's almost become like cliche. You know it's going to happen in every fucking tag match now.
Well,
just
we got a
goddamn
commercial
tag
break.
and work the ring.
Yeah.
I missed those full blind tags where the one guy would go behind the referee and clap his hands.
Oh yeah, those are the real blind tags.
Mm-hmm. As refreshing as that was, we're kind of going to bring the momentum down a little bit because it's the old NWO come out and run the announcers off.
Oh Jesus! And this led into the worst fucking segment of the entire night. Not
and
just
there is plenty of shots at WWF in this one. We'll call them WWF for this sake because we're back in time.
Yeah, I mean, fuck. If they weren't throwing an insult every other word, it wouldn't have been the 90s. It really wouldn't have been. But
and we're not. Here's a key fact, too, listeners. We're not in the war yet.
No.
It's just starting.
Yeah,
we're a month and a half away from the first Raw is War.
Yeah.
But one of the key things I noticed, Nash came out and said he said Randy Anderson looked like Vince Neil, and Bischoff says, Vince, you scared me there for a second. Nash goes, oh, I heard he's sick. So they call out Randy Anderson, who was fired 2 weeks ago. I guess because he wouldn't count the NWO or cheat for him.
Uh-huh.
So he brings in wife and kids out to ask for his job back.
Oh, another ham-fisted, like, old story beat. I was just like, oh my god. As soon as it happened, I was like, this is going to be fucking awkward as shit. And
it was. And Randy Anderson's wife actually started to laugh and had to cut the camera from her.
Yeah. Anderson, I mean, God love him. He could ref like a sumbitch, but he was awful. Oh.
And, well, Bischoff says you can have your job back if you wrestle and beat Nick Patrick. And Randy says, I've wrestled cancer and beat it, and I'll beat Patrick. Very bad foreshadowing of his future.
Yeah.
Because he does pass away from cancer.
I know.
Actually, think about it. Here's a off-subject fact. Like 75% of the WCW referees all died of cancer. Hildebrand, Pee-wee, trying to think of the other those. A lot of them died from cancer.
Huh. Must have been something in those Turner Studios buildings.
Must have been asbestos.
They had that mesothelioma.
So, Hall and Nash say they want to wrestle. So Bischoff says, I got the tag team for you. You'll wrestle against the best tag team in the Northeast from the Eastern Continental Wrestling something or another. And so he sends out this team called the Extreme.
Oh, God. These guys are the most obvious and blatant Rockers ripoffs you will ever see. Billed from Stanford. It's just fucking
And they come out to the Hollywood Blondes music.
Uh-huh. And
they're pretty much destroyed by Hall and Nash.
Oh,
and Hall and Nash cut actually a shitty promo on Giant and Luger.
Well, they were fucking phoning it in. They didn't have to do anything. This is like the Clique moving to WCW from WWF. They didn't give a shit, man. Like, I mean, looking back on it, I fucking loved it back in the day, but, like, looking at it now, I'm just like, oh my god, they fucking just phoned this shit in. They fucking suck. They knew they could get away with anything. And they fucking did it.
And people ate it up.
Yeah. I mean, the only good part, like, the best part of it was how they used Luger and the Giants' finishers instead of their own.
And Nash couldn't figure out how to do the torture act.
No, he really couldn't. It took him a minute. It took him a minute.
Was the chokeslam part of Hall's repertoire at this time? I can't remember if he done it when he was Razor or not. I thought he did.
I don't know. I mean, it could have been something he even used back when he wrestled under his own name back in the AWA days, possibly.
Because that ended up becoming one of his I guess you call it the signature move, was the choke slam, the setup for the Edge.
Edge's Edge, yeah.
Honestly, like the choke slam, it's like I enjoy it, but it's become every big dude's go-to. It's like, oh, I can't do this.
All big dudes. The Hurricane does it too.
Yeah. Well, the Hurricane does it because he's the Hurricane and it's tiny and it makes no fucking sense, but it's amazing. Any big dude that does it, it's only because they can't take any sort of body injuries or body bumps anymore, and they don't want to hurt themselves, so they switch over to doing fucking choke slams.
But I have to say, the Giant had the best one at this time frame.
He fucking held that dude in the air forever.
Damian Priest is using a choke slam he calls South of Heaven that I like.
I'm okay with the Slayer reference.
Yeah, that's what I like about it too.
I'm for it.
But if I remember right, it's more of a sit-down choke slam. So it's a choke slam, and when he drops him down, he sits down with him.
A sit-out choke slam. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Continue.
Okay, moving on. We have the World Television title up for grabs. Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Lord Steven Regal. And as a kid, I didn't appreciate him. God, you gotta appreciate some Steven Regal.
That dude could work the fucking crowd.
Yes.
And he could make himself look like he couldn't wrestle for shit, but he was wrestling his fucking ass off the whole time.
And the key thing to point out here, Rey Mysterio, we all know he's a luchador, he does all the flippy stuff, but he adjusted to work Regal's style to where it looked good.
Mm-hmm.
Key point, AEW.
Yeah,
adjust your shit to your opponent, and your matches look better.
Balance each other out. Don't just trade back and forth with style. Like, you got to compliment. You can't do the same shit.
This wasn't getting your shit in. This was Rey knowing what works. He can do he did the drop kick off the second rope. It worked.
Mm-hmm.
He knew he couldn't do the Hurricane Ranas and all that because it wouldn't look good.
Yep.
He did what was to Regal's strength, while Regal looked like the badass working him over.
Yep.
Then, unfortunately, we have a conspiracy here. Will says the fan rang the bell. I think Penzer just got told to ring it and run it too soon.
If he got told to ring it, it got rung at the most awkward time possible. They were still in the middle of doing shit. Nothing was happening. And the bell got lightly dung like a couple times. And then it got rang like crazy. I'm just like, what the fuck?
Now, here's a key thing about WCW at this time. Unlike the WWF, where they have a timekeeper, a ring announcer, and all that, David Penzer does it all.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't have a headset. He's watching for a signal from the stage.
Mm.
So, yeah, he doesn't get a headset till, I don't know if he ever got one or not, because I know he's the one who does it all. He rings the bell, he holds the belts, and does the ring announcing. He even does the countdowns for TV, because when I went to Nitro, he gets in the ring, he goes, okay, guys, get your signs up, we're going live in 3, 2, 1, and he'll tell you to get up.
Interesting. I still think, like, just the way it sounded too much like a fan got a hold of it. Because, like, the timing doesn't even match up with when something should have happened, unless the people up in the booth signaled it when the match should have had that happen, the finish happen, and Rey and Regal were behind.
Because Regal did talk some trash to that fan for a pretty good while.
Yeah. So that could be the case, and then Penzer's like, oh shit, they're not even done. And then, he probably got the go-ahead, no, just fucking do it. And he rang it anyway, and they called it a time finish, even though I don't remember.
Because the TV title has a 10-minute time limit draw. That was the actual finish. Rey was supposed to almost get a 3, but the time limit was going to run out.
Mm-hmm.
That was the storyline there going forward.
Yeah.
But otherwise, the match was besides the botch, that match would have topped it all.
Yeah. Pacing of that match, really, really good. I would say if I were to compare it to one of the AEW matches, it would be a blend between the Darby, Janela, and Thunder Rosa and Hirsch match. If you were to blend those two together, you'd kind of get the same sort of balance that you had in the Ray and Regal match.
Yes. Well, now we're going to go to another commercial. We're going to come out. You notice we haven't had a lot of backstage segments.
No.
Pre-recorded stunts.
Well, we're about to have a pre-recorded bit.
No, we're not. We're going to have an interview live interview, because here comes Kevin Sullivan, the Taskmaster.
Oh, is it that time? Did we? The Roddy thing hasn't happened yet, has it?
No, that's the end of the show.
Oh, is it?
And I'm going to go on, and I'm going to explain how that actually was something Bischoff done that was actually very smart. We'll get to that. Well, Sullivan came out to his music, but they botched the music and played Mongos. I don't know if you caught that, and they had to cut it off and go back to the Dungeon of Doom music.
I did not.
No, it was wrong. Never mind. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. That was for Maverick Wild. Okay, no, I screwed this up. This was on me. This was my spot. I botched.
Oh.
Mongo hadn't got his own. Mongo was still using the Horseman music at this time. He hadn't got his own music yet, but the music that Maverick Wild used ends up being Mongo's music in the future.
There we go.
A
semi-botch.
This was a quick 3-minute job for Sullivan where they're getting Jackie over as a badass, where she slams him and throws him back in, and pretty much Sullivan takes care of him.
Jackie did all the fucking work. Sullivan just slumped him.
So Tenay goes down to interview Sullivan.
This right here. This is the worst part of the night for me. Because
for what we know happened.
Well, that, and for also knowing how shitty Kevin Sullivan is, or was during the WCW era of his booking. It's way too hammy, and it's a vanity project. It was a storyline he cooked up, and so he's leaning way too into it, and they even told him to hurry up, and he said no. They tried to get him to get the fuck on with it, and he told them no during his thing.
And he gives a cameo to Paulie Dangerously.
Mm-hmm. He definitely referenced him.
He told Sullivan to do his job. Sullivan cuts a decent promo saying Nancy isn't tough and she never pulled a 9 or bit anyone's nose off because, Sullivan grew up in the rough part of town.
Yep.
Explain Jackie's the most important woman to him now.
They kept saying.
They said it so much.
Neighborhood, not a community, or some shit like that.
It made no fucking sense, really.
It was stupid.
Yeah.
And they kept saying it. And then the first words that came out of Jackie's mouth were the same thing. We from a neighborhood. We ain't from a community.
We suck.
Anyway, that's over with. So we go to... Now we come back, we do have a recap. Not a backstage skit, but a recap of the promo between Piper wanting to just leave, brings the sun out, and Hogan goes out and embarrasses him. And then Piper snaps, which pretty much is setting up for the main event for Super Brawl.
Yes.
Good old
Commercial.
Piper.
Commercial, we come back. We have Hugh Morris versus Alex Wright.
That
was the one time where I was like, damn, this isn't normal Hugh Morris. He's not laughing like a fucking maniac the entire time. He was fucking mean as shit.
Mm-hmm.
He trained Luchasaurus. He made Luchasaurus cry.
He also, sexually assaulted dudes, didn't he?
I don't think it was sexual assault, but his training style was very hands-on. And that's why, his real guy, Jesse, whatever his real name, he was training with NXT. He was training under Hugh Morris or whatever his real name is, and he's the one that made the accusations against him of being too hard of a trainer, which eventually led to him being fired from WWE.
Well, going back to that match, Alex Wright did botch a drop kick, and Morris ended up powerbombing him into a no laughing matter for the win. It's quick, but a good match. Next match, Jeff Jarrett and Chavo Guerrero Jr. versus Benoit and Mongo.
Oh, I mean, again, because we know the history, every Benoit match is going to be tainted now. But damn it, I'm not going to sully the fact that Benoit can wrestle like no one else.
That was the key fact of this.
But Jesus Christ, he was a good wrestler.
Chavo started off too quick, but Benoit adjusted to it, ran with him, and then slowed him down.
Yep. The way it boiled down is Benoit, being the veteran, slowed the less tenured wrestler down and got him under control. Like, Chavo was too fucking excited.
And the whole angle here is mainly the Jarrett Mongo angle, because Deborah is wanting Jarrett and the Horsemen, and Mongo don't like him and shit like that. It was some cheesy stuff there.
Yeah. Because this is about the time where Double A retires from the ring, isn't it?
That would be when he gives it to Kurt Hennig.
Okay.
In the summer.
Yeah. But
Tenay came out and interviewed the Horsemen. Arn and Flair came out. Damn, Arn did a damn good promo, like he always does.
Arn, back in the day, Arn could cut a hell of a promo. Now, I'm just like, Arn, he's struggling, buddy.
This is the Arn we need in AEW.
Yeah, it's true.
He needs to find that guy. And get rid of the coach.
I do not like the coach gimmick at all. I don't. I think it's awful. I think it's just another Cody pandering thing. I think it's something that Cody does to try and make himself seem like he's not full of himself, but it makes him come off as even more full of himself. That he has his own private coach to help him get better at his matches.
Yeah. So, to end the night, we ended the night with a promo in the ring. It was via satellite, Hogan's in Hollywood at NWO Studios.
AKA probably just backstage.
Yep. Piper came out and they kind of did a back and forth, and it kind of went off with a fart in church. This was a standard for Nitro. They ended on a lot of promos. But in essence, I know why, and it made a lot of sense if you think about it. Because by this time in the night, Raw comes on at 9. When the war really cranks up, it'll make more sense, because it's like Bischoff knows people are going to tune out that last portion of the show. So save the main event for the rating segment before, because when everybody tunes out 10 till to go watch the last half of Raw, the ones who haven't been channel flipping in general,
yep,
they're not going to pay attention to anything in Nitro. So you're going to get your main event across, because you can always recap promo when you come back on there the next week, which is what they did.
Yep.
So I kind of understand it for what they were going head-to-head with competition, but that's pretty much how Nitro ended. Sometimes Nitro did on a high note.
Yeah. The other part of that was smart is what it is anyone that dipped early to go watch that little bit of Raw also saw the recap the next week, and they're like, motherfucker, I miss Roddy Piper. Fucking do shit. Like, cut a damn, promo against Hogan. And so that next week, there's a chance that they stayed to watch the entire show.
Mm-hmm.
And so it created kind of a back and forth to where, there was a lull, but then an immediate pop the following week because they had some hook that made people stay to see if there was another thing like that later on.
Except for this week, really, because Raw was preempted.
Yeah.
Now, whether Bischoff knew about this ahead of time, or he didn't figure it out, find out about it until he went on the air.
Mm-hmm. Raw during this week, to assist a little bit with this, was postponed due to the dog show. I believe, was it the Westminster or a different one?
Westminster.
Okay, so the Kennel Club threw their dog show into the works, and it was during Raw's time slot on that Monday. So Raw moved to Thursday. And goddamn, if they didn't tell you it was Thursday, Raw Thursday, the entire fucking night. Like you forgot what fucking day it was and what you were watching. I know I'm watching fucking Raw. I know it's not goddamn Monday. You don't have to fucking tell me because this shit isn't getting over. It sounds like shit.
It's Tuesday! Post to Post Tuesday!
Now, let's go back in time. Let's make a recap, too. Now, Nitro had to do the same thing for the NBA during the playoffs because back then, TNT and TBS both aired the NBA. But the playoff dates back then were already set, and they were done more sequentially. So they already knew what dates that the playoffs were going to be, so they sold tickets and done the shows live on Tuesday, where Raw had to tape. But with that being said, let's go back to the dog show. For what our younger viewers don't know, or listeners don't know, when Raw was in the middle of a war, they were getting 8 and 9 ratings. The president at the time of USA Network was obsessed with that fucking dog show. She would preempt Raw, where, even though it got a 9 and 10 rating that week, guaranteed, would preempt it to get a lower rating because she loved the dog show.
Dog people gonna be dog people. Now, another thing to tell people about ratings. Okay, so, from what I've worked out of the rating system, every whole number is basically like 1 million viewers, give or take. So, Raw and Nitro during this time were pulling like 2s and 3s.
Nitro pulled a 3.8 this week in '97, and Raw pulled a 2.8 or 2.5, I think it was.
That's like millions of viewers. And for the same week, for our AKA last week, for AEW, it was what, a 0.7?
Yes.
So, one.
Now, we didn't figure in, now you didn't figure, you'd mentioned, you got to figure in illegal streams and people who watched it later. So we came to an agreement, and we'll just say a 1.2.
Yeah, we'll give them a 1.2, no higher than a 1.5, and I think that's pretty fair. What say you, Grayson? John?
I'm cool with that.
I'm fine with that,
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair math. So, but still yet, that's still more than doubled by Nitro, and almost doubled by Raw during this period of time.
When Raw was in an off period.
Yeah, and that's Raw on an odd night. If it'd been on the same night, it probably would have been pulling equivalent numbers to Nitro. Or possibly even slightly better. It all depends.
And this is the key point. We're not in the Attitude Era.
No, we're at the end of the new generation.
Yes.
We've got what, like another month or two, possibly 6 months tops.
I believe it's after WrestleMania, mid-March they go to Raw is War, and then it's like and then May I think is when Brett does the Cuss Vince out angle.
Yeah. Yeah. So we are really close to the kickoff of the Attitude Era. Really close. And you can tell it's not the Attitude Era as well later on in the night, but I'll mention that when we get to it. But this Raw episode right here kicked off strong, just like I'm gonna say, even though it was a strong kickoff, I still found the match slightly boring.
And we need to make a point too, Will. This is the go-home show for the In Your House Final Four pay-per-view. So you're going to hear a lot of pushing that.
Oh, God. If it wasn't every other word, it wasn't done. Talking about In Your House. And honestly, I miss In Your House. I do. I wish it was one of the main shows and not just a gimmick NXT show now. But I digress.
This one was bad. I watched it. I never did. I watched it for the first time over the weekend. It was bad.
I think this was slightly before the era, or right around the same time that Grayson and I were learning how to program satellite cards and getting free pay-per-views.
Yes. That we never got to use because someone in the house would not let us. So.
Yeah.
I was in my 3rd year of prison around this time.
What, you didn't get the free cable and with your 3 hots and a cot?
The people I was in prison with were more WCW fans than WWE fans at the time.
Oh, people of taste.
We had a TV set aside for wrestling on Monday nights, and the majority of the time it was WCW.
Well, I guess there was a brief period of time where you got to see good wrestling. Good job. Up until like I'm gonna give that up until like maybe 99, and then it's
I got out of prison in 98, so
yeah, it went real downhill after like 99. So
I will go ahead and mention too. This Raw was taped at the Lowell, Massachusetts, and it's an odd place where Raw was running very frequently during this time.
I will say I really liked the way that arena was, but also it made Raw look like a fucking house show.
It did.
It was so tiny and cramped looking. I liked the venue a lot. It had a good look to it, but it also had this tiny, tiny feel. And for an opening match like Hunter Hearst Helmsley, I'm not going to say Triple H because he wasn't Triple H at the time. He was Hunter Hearst Helmsley, going up against pre-Rock Rocky Maivia for a title match as the kickoff match was impressive.
Now, here's the thing, too. This shouldn't have been a ticket sale problem because the next week, the following Monday, they were in what was then the new Nashville Arena, which is the Bridgestone Arena now, and they sold it out. Mm-hmm. So you're talking 20,000. So they're still putting people in seats.
Yep.
That's not counting. There are comps, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Both shows had comps.
Yep.
But Nitro was sold out in Jacksonville, and it was a smaller. The Jacksonville Arena was a smaller arena than it was. Essentially, for those of you in North Carolina, it's more or less Bojangles Coliseum.
Okay. So, like,
which is what Nitro
15?
ran very frequently.
That's like what, a 10, 15?
That size. Yeah, maybe 10, a little over for wrestling.
Okay, so about like the Sears Center in Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah. But to this match right here, I mean, this was during the age of Rocky Sucks, and you definitely heard it for a little while, and then magically...
Well, no. We got to make everybody right. This is not Nation Rock. This is for today's wrestling. This would have been what Roman Reigns was for 3 years.
Yeah. This is where they really, really, really wanted him to get over as a babyface, and everyone fucking balked at it.
But at the same time, when his performance kicked in, they would kind of, okay, he would get over the crowd, literally. And that happened in this match.
Yep, it's true. And this match right here is the one where I believe, Triple H is working the arm. Okay, Rocky has him outside, throws him up against the ring post, and is coming in to clothesline him. He throws the clothesline with his right arm. Hits the rail, or hits the post. When they get back in the ring, Triple H is working his left arm. Instead of his right arm. And
I would have given the pass because Rocky was still green at this point, but Helmsley should have known better.
Yeah, and Rocky flips and starts selling the left arm, even though it's the right arm that took the clothesline outside to the post. But Helmsley switches and starts working the left arm, and I was just like, I had to stop for a second. It's like, did he just switch to the wrong fucking arm? And sure enough, he did. I was like, weird.
And I didn't catch that.
It was just one of those things while I was watching. It's like, he's working the wrong arm. Partly because I still have a mild distaste for Triple H. I hated his guts as Hunter Hearst Helmsley because, that was what you were supposed to do at the time, and that distaste never left. I can slightly appreciate him, but I still don't really like him.
You were more of a Terrorizer fan?
Say what?
You were more of a Terrorizer fan? Terrorizing?
No.
Just key points in this match. It had a great finish.
Oh, that roll up was lovely.
Hunter beat Rocky down, and to the point where he couldn't even get him up to do the pedigree, and he started gloating about it, and then adrenaline rush, roll up, 1, 2, 3. We have a new Intercontinental Champion.
I mean, Rocky caught him sleeping is what it was.
Yep. And the two high spots in this match was Helmsley doing a second rope superplex, and Rocky doing the crossbody, which Triple H, I won't call him Triple H, which Helmsley countered into a pin of his own because of the momentum shift.
That was a smooth counter. There were a lot of good counters in this match, but at the same time, it drug ass. And this is also during that time where Vince was still calling at the ring, but with JR and Jerry. And I was just like,
It made me remember how much I disliked JR's voice.
I still enjoy JR, but at the same time, just hearing all the off-color comments that Jerry Lawler used to get away with was ridiculous. It was like every other fucking word. Especially when Sonny came out later on.
We're going to get to that.
That train.
Rocky's promo after the match, it proved the point that he cannot do scripted promos.
No, he was trying to do the wholesome family angle, and it was awful.
Yep, and good old Doc Hendricks came out to interview him.
Man, I forgot all about that dude. Oh, God. When I saw him, I was like, holy shit, is it Sunday? Am I watching fucking In Your House Sunday? Or whatever that show was?
Superstars.
The clip show. It was the other one. The bad earring and the black hair. It was kind of short cropped. He may have had
the In Your House guy. Todd, I think it's Todd Phillips.
Todd Pettengill.
Todd Phillips.
That's it. Pettengill.
Yeah. Those two, they did that Sunday clip show, and I feel like it had like house in the name, but it wasn't In Your House. Or was it? No, it wasn't Heat, was it?
No,
because Heat wasn't a clip show.
Okay.
Livewire was Saturday. Sunday was Superstars, and they did have a clip show called Mania.
I feel like there's a different one.
Sure, shit weren't Tuesday Night Titans.
Never sully that name. It's still amazing.
Renee Young tried to bring it back, but they said no. Her podcast is pretty good, by the way.
Huh.
Mox was this week.
Mox was the very first week, or is that what you said?
He was on it this week.
Oh, he was on it again? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, their first episode was funny. He talked about banging on the balcony in a hotel after, I think, one of his title matches.
Oh, let's give that a listen then. That's like Pornhub. Speaking of Pornhub, next, Sunny came out, and she must have done some balcony stuff with Michaels because the headlights were on and they were on the high beam.
Oh boy, were they! Oh gosh!
And she made sure that dress was tight where you could see the outline of that G-string. And this is that phase where she had nothing to do. Her husband went back to ECW, I believe, at this point. And they were just having her do everything. Ring announce, referee, midgets.
This was after Farouk had left, when she was managing Farouk for that short period of time.
Yep. Smoking Guns had broke up.
Yeah.
This is before the Road Warriors, the LOD 2000.
Yeah. We're a good year from that. So we had a tag team match between the Headbangers and Aldo Montoya. Who is he, John?
Just incredible.
And Bob Holly, who has lost the spark plug unit but still wearing the gear.
Yep. I mean, he never got rid of the race car gear.
No.
And
the name.
He just got rid of the mullet and the name.
Yeah. Well, this was a quick squash, but it was rough.
It was. I love the headbangers to death, but this is one of those matches where they were too fucking green, and the veteran team was just a fucking slapped together shit team.
And I think they had debuted. They debuted in December, right?
I feel like you could be right. Yeah.
The high spot was the finish, which was a powerbomb leg drop double team.
Yep.
Which was actually really good looking.
It was. It was.
Coming up next, Michaels lost his smile. We ain't got to go into it.
Yep, it's the famous Michaels promo where he lost his smile. Boo.
Instead of talking about his bum knees.
Yeah.
Which they milked the whole show.
God damn, did they milk that.
Well, after that, we have another match. Savio Vega is with the Nation of Domination, which during this phase,
really,
it was really weird, man. It's like they tried to play that whole. This is the closest comparison I've got to it. They tried to play the whole militant Nation of Islam / Black Panthers thing, but it was some really shitty rappers. I'm not going to make any sort of guesses on ethnicity because I'd probably be wrong. But the one I'm guaranteed to be correct on, and the one that made no fucking sense at all, why in the fuck was Crush there?
Yeah, that made no sense.
Yeah.
The other guys, I'll give a pass, even though the rap was, well, better than the Acclaimed. Still awful.
Whites with attitude.
I'm not even going to say that because I'm not sure they are.
WWA.
But Crush, why the fuck was he even there?
I mean, that's what. And here was the thing too. Clarence Mason was the representative for Farouk, but he had also earlier had legally screwed Jim Cornette out of Camp Cornette. That's why he was no longer manager of the Owen Hart and Bulldog. Clarence Mason was their manager.
Huh.
That was a kind of a fuck around.
Weird.
But anyway, getting back to that, we had, and as we all, Savio Vega, he was a good wrestler. It's just he didn't belong in that group. He ended up getting Los Boricuas later on in the year.
Mm-hmm.
But he took on The Undertaker. As in, because he's involved in the main event at the pay-per-view, everybody's got to wrestle tonight. And pretty much his Undertaker match. Then he got jumped by the rappers, and Ahmed came out and made the save. Did he come out with the 2x4?
No.
No, he came out in his gear this week. Never mind. I'm jumping ahead. They cleaned house. We come back. Guess what we have? A backstage interview. But guess what? It flows with the program. Mm-hmm. Gorilla Monsoon. Good to see Gorilla. We miss him.
I do miss Gorilla. I mean, he was starting to. He wasn't as smooth and fluid during this time as he was in the 80s, but he still did a good job. Now, this is the one thing that we'll say that I'll agree with you. The moments where they had breakaways to backstage, etc., they went with the program and they didn't take you out of the program. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It was symbiotic.
And the announcers did a good job leading into it too.
Yeah.
Especially before the commercial break, Vince would go, when we come back, Gorilla Monsoon is going to give us an update on the Final Four pay-per-view. And then it goes to, I believe Kevin Kelly done this interview.
I think you're right.
And pretty much Gorilla decided on the Final Four main event where it will become the next World Wrestling Federation champion, will defend against Sid the next night on Raw. This was one of them things that I really didn't. Why didn't they just put Sid in the Final Four? And yeah, because it just kind of made a pointless transitional champion.
Mm-hmm.
But that can be debated.
Yep.
But anyway, we come back. We got Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Psycho Sid.
And this, what I was going to say before we go into that, I was going to mention how the promos and such back then were more symbiotic than they are now.
Yeah.
It's like without them it wouldn't have worked, or without them it could have worked, but it worked better with them. Now, if you got rid of a lot of these, the show would be 1,000 times better.
Yeah.
I mean, the show's still good, but there's too many fucking weird interruptions. And I don't watch half of them. I skip them. But segueing back, this is also the giveaway match that it is not the Attitude Era yet, because Stone Cold's on throwing up fists. And those fists are criminally bare of beer. Criminally.
But he's well, we won't see the true flip until WrestleMania.
He was still fucking ringmaster Rip, though.
Yeah.
He was.
I mean, I saw him, I was like, holy shit, I forgot Stone Cold used to look fucking tough as shit.
But pretty much this match started off. Sid went for a chokeslam. Austin Lowe blowed him right in front of the referee. This was the one time the WWF fucked up.
Yeah.
And he didn't. Anyway, Brett came out and attacked Austin. Then Brett got into it, and we had a pull apart. Foreshadowing.
Yep. It's just like the last few matches were just gimmick. Well, the term's probably wrong, but I'm going to call them gimmick matches just to have members of that main event in your house come out and attack one another and interfere. That's all it fucking was.
And Brett and Austin's been, that's been going on since Royal Rumble, really, with the whole Austin getting eliminated, coming back in because nobody saw it, and dumping Brett.
Yeah.
It's an angle. They're building a good angle toward what will end up being one of the greatest matches in WrestleMania history.
Mm-hmm.
Can't argue with that.
Nope.
But we come back, Will, it's your favorite promo. What I want to say is, why was Vader put with Paul Bearer?
Why wasn't Paul Bearer talking for Vader? I mean, now, real quick, Mankind was already there at this time.
Yes.
I understand why Bearer went and worked with Mankind and divorced himself from The Undertaker for this period of time. I get that. Vader does not have a gimmick that matches up or gels enough with the loose connections you can kind of make between the gimmicks of Mankind and The Undertaker. So,
and to me, all bias aside, the Cornette Vader duo worked well. It worked well all through that feud with Michaels.
It did.
Because Vader couldn't do a promo. Everybody knew he couldn't do a promo. I guess Vince wanted him to try and do a promo. It didn't work. It was awful. It was just grunting and words.
I think that the connection there is that they're all just fucking monsters. And Paul Bearer likes monsters.
But, you could have talked instead of polishing the urn. I think if you look at Paul's face as that promo's going, you can see the look of horror in his face, like, Vader, you suck!
You are correct, but for me to segue back, I found out the name of the show. It was Action Zone.
Oh.
Because I just figured it. I found out it started off kind of a regular sort of thing, but by the end of '95 and transitioning into '96, so it was already over by the time that this event was happening. It had turned into a Sunday morning clip show with Todd Pettengill and Doc Hendricks. So yes, I remembered, but I couldn't remember the fucking name. But anyway, back to the odd pairings. Don't let Vader talk. That's the takeaway.
Yeah. And speaking of odd couples, we have the Nation, the team of Farouk and Crush versus Owen Hart and the Bulldog. And this is continuing the story of Owen kind of fucking around with Bulldog. He eliminated him in the Royal Rumble.
Also, if I remember correctly, the beginnings of Owen becoming the cocksure double slamming heel. building up to that because he only had his single slammy at this time.
He will get his second slammy, and he'll cut that awesome promo this year before WrestleMania. Because they do advertisements for the Slammy Awards.
The back card promo.
I got 2 Slammies and you don't.
Yeah.
And the winner he goes, hey Bulldog, I got 2 Slammies and you don't. Pretty much Owen went to the floor, and I thought he bummed his knee up and got counted out, and Bulldog got beat up for 13 minutes.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. The entire back half of that match was Owen really selling the fact that he couldn't climb back in the ring. And Bulldog being immensely pissed when he got pinned. He had to double back and grab his slammy. He was like starting to walk away, and Bulldog was carrying him. He's like, wait, he turned around and went and grabbed it, and then came back.
Our main event of the inning was Brett versus Vader, and this probably, to me, everything, this smelled time crunch to me. It wasn't great. It was rushed. Brett pretty much pinned Vader when he missed the moonsault.
Yeah.
Then Austin tried to jump off the balcony and come after him.
Yep. Don't forget, I believe at the beginning of this match, Undertaker walked out and cut a promo on them.
A shitty promo.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. It wasn't. It was just a reason for him to finish saying rest in peace and roll his eyes and then to cut away really quick.
And Doc Hendricks was there for no reason.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. I will say, that moonsault looked really good.
That just made me remember Terry Funk doing the moonsault. Cornette was telling the story. He said first time Terry Funk did a moonsault was for Smoky Mountain Wrestling. He did the moonsault. He done it on some chairs or something to Bob Armstrong, and Cornette looked at him and goes, Terry, what the fuck are you doing? And he goes, Corny, I don't know.
Oh, Terry Funk.
Oh, that'll always be the funniest thing. I don't know.
God love him.
But the 2 throwback shows, they were, to me, I enjoyed them better in AEW because they, like I said, they flowed.
For me, this is the way I like. My takeaway from it is the Nitro from this date had the best put together show out of all 3.
Yes.
The best. I'm going to put AEW above the WWF show because the WWF show was just a pre-pay-per-view shit show. There was nothing super big going on. It was a bunch of lead-ins and just kind of like predictable, hey, let's put our big names out there and everyone's going to have a moment to kind of interrupt someone else's match because we happen to be having a match together in a few days. It was.
But it did have a purpose to it.
It did.
A lot of stuff with AEW to me just doesn't have purpose.
A lot of it does not. You're right. But for me, that WWE or WWF show just wasn't very good. That, and I just couldn't get around how slack those fucking ropes were.
But, God, that ring sounded good.
That ring did sound really good.
The WCW rings, they always sounded the same, but they sounded good too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some of those older rings, they were a lot stiffer, so they had that really, really loud slap.
Mm-hmm.
And it was nice. The only time modern rings sound good is if you hear a video of someone recorded ringside and you hear the actual sound. It's awesome. But comparatively, the older rings sounded great. Storytelling beats, again, Nitro had everyone hands down. The WWF show came in second there, and then AEW brought up the rear because they have not figured out good storytelling yet.
AEW is schizophrenic booking.
At times, it's literally throw it at a wall and see what sticks.
Mm-hmm.
It's pot of spaghetti. Spaghetti booking. That's what I'm going to coin now. It's spaghetti booking.
Let's think. Let's take a look at that. Let's think about that. What made Nitro work was you had the star matches, but you also had those Bobby Eaton Hulk Conan match, even though for what it was, it worked for the show.
I was just about to say that the ebb and flow of the shows back then, where you have big names, then you go to mid-carders and back to big names, and it had a good flow to, you know, the way that the show was. You had your low points, you had your high points, but they were planned out in advance. They weren't spot fests.
No.
Like I said, for this week's AEW, it was not as spot heavy as past episodes. I guess they knew he was doing this review.
Yeah, they knew.
They listened to JR.
But I mean, you know, in the AEW problem, like we said, there are so many matches that will go through 2 and sometimes 3 breaks for one match. And 2, it's just AEW needs to define their jobbers and their over guys and quit trying to make it so even. Some guys are just going to have to take the beating.
Yeah, that you can blame Cody for that one.
I hate AEW picture-in-picture. It'd be okay if they kept the picture-in-picture the whole way through the commercial break, but they fucking stop it. You know,
certain times, it's always the picture-in-picture near the end of the show that they cut off early.
Now,
restaurant.
With that being said, what worked in these shows for Nitro and Raw, WWF, especially because they had it, the double feature. Come back, here's what you missed. Now you're back where we are.
I liked those old school, like, well, I'm going to call it picture-in-picture as well, but it's a recap style picture-in-picture. It's the original way to do it and much better than giving you like the little screen that you get distracted from because you wind up watching commercials instead. I've tried my damnedest, even though it's pre-recorded, to watch the picture-in-picture, and I can't fucking do it. I always get distracted by the commercial, so I just fucking fast forward that. I know if I hit the button fucking 6 times, I'm back to the wrestling.
Well, the original purpose of the commercial break was, if you're there live, they'd go into a sitting headlock. And then right before they come back, the referee will be like, okay, we're coming back in 5. They'll start to do something big. So when you come back on the air, boom, somebody's hitting something, a big move like a drop kick or something. Or if they're in a sleeper hold, they'll come back to break and the baby face will start be getting his recovery.
Yep.
So you come back on air at just the right time.
You didn't really miss any beats, but no one live really caught on to the fact that they were being stalled. Commercial. Yeah. There are things the past got right, and if I'm going to say at this period of time, WCW was firing on all cylinders, and WWF was like misfiring and slowly starting to figure out what they were going to do. They were still kind of hanging on to the super gimmick era and slowly starting to shake it off and really move into what they were to become for the Monday Night Wars. But WCW had already kind of moved into that territory. The gimmick shit was gone. They were breaking the fourth wall sort of shit. And things were going nicely. It was almost like a modern day show, but it was still firmly rooted in the old style. You feel me?
Where WCW started fucking up was the Nitro Girls.
Yeah.
Because they end up being, instead of matches, they end up becoming filler.
Yep.
So like a lot of where we'd see the backstage segments on AEW, you might as well just say put the Nitro Girls in there. That was Nitro in 98, 99.
Yeah.
And it hurt the program. And honestly, on top of that, I went to a Nitro in late 97 when the Nitro Girls first started. You didn't get dark matches. Like we would get, Nitro came on at 8. We were told to be in the arena by 7:30. We got there at 7:30 expecting a dark match. We got nothing but the Nitro Girls dancing for 30 minutes.
It's a long fucking dance.
Yep. And then they got out, and then Pender came to the ring. Well, they would usually leave about 10 minutes till airtime. Pender would get in the ring, actually give you the card, tell you who's going to be there, That's how we found out Bret Hart was going to be there. Like, oh, Bret Hart's here tonight. We're like, what? They kind of spoiled the show, kind of. And then he goes, okay, we're going on TNT in 2 minutes. I want all them. Let me see all them signs. And of course, everybody put their signs up. Okay, I want everybody to get up, get loud in 5, 4, 3. Anyway, come back from where Raw now doesn't do this. They would do that every commercial break. Like, we're coming back from commercial in 3, 2, 1. Get loud.
Now, if I feel like I remember them doing something similar to that when I went to Dynamite. The first Dynamite, they did some similar stuff. They I think they flash it on like the big screen or something like that, and things would people would get super hyped again because they knew what the commercial was.
Now, John Mike can answer this better. He watches WWE more than we do now. Do they still do for Raw? Do they still do the 10-minute preview?
No.
Like 10 till the hour. Like, coming up on 9 o'clock on Monday Night Raw, we got blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, they do that. And when I'm in the Thunderdome, we're part of that. Because half an hour before Raw comes on, they're filming main event. So we're in the Thunderdome for the main event. After the first match on main event, they call it a trailer or filler or something like that, where 10 minutes before the hour, they take a shot of the Thunderdome. We're in there, and they're talking about, coming up on Raw, we've got Randy Orton, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, they do that.
Okay, because the last time I went to see Raw live in 2016, JoJo was the ring announcer, and she goes, okay, we need everybody to get up. We're going to be live on the USA Network in 5 minutes.
Yep. Yeah.
All right.
So, for COVID, all the live shows right before that I've gone to when they had Raw at the Pepsi Center here, it was the same thing.
Okay. So here, to wrap everything up, since we're getting close to time and we want to get some other things knocked out, what sort of takeaway do you three want to give, like, to say, looking at the old shows, and Grayson, since you didn't get a chance to watch them, taking in kind of what we said, what sort of takeaways do you think AEW could use to make their show a little better moving forward, looking at some of the older ones and what they did right and wrong?
For me, more in-match storytelling and less backstage storytelling.
Okay.
Formatting the shows better, and the announcers being more invested.
I'd say the most invested announcer at AEW is Excalibur.
Oh, yeah.
He's in
it. If you watch, they need what Nitro was. Because Raw with Vince, it was, we all know what that was.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
The Shivani Zbyszko, then the second hour, I would like to see them do like Nitro did for the second hour. That was where we didn't really touch on. When Nitro would do the first hour, it'd be Shivani and Zbyszko, and then they would go say, it's hour number 2, and blow Pyro off and go, this hour we got Mike Tenay and Bobby Heenan.
Yeah, that's right.
Split their announcers up.
Fresh commentary, yeah. I could see that. It's almost like Excalibur working with Taz for Dark, and then Excalibur working with everyone else for the main show.
Excalibur working with nobody on the women's Japanese Eliminator tournament.
Yeah, kind of.
Well, Shivani don't really talk much, so just give him the first hour and JR the second hour.
Works for me. I always think announcers work better when there's 2 instead of 3, but, it is what it is. Grayson, how about you?
Just tone down on the forced matches.
Yeah.
That's really my gripe. Okay, Lance Archer was feuding with Eddie Kingston and stuff, and now he's just all of a sudden with no real segue in a thing with Moxley and Kenta and Omega.
Well,
it just,
that match next week with John Moxley, Lance Archer, and Rey Fenix is against Kingston, Butcher, and Blade.
Yeah. Okay. Well, they're going back to that. That's good. And then, I don't know. Things are just getting forced. And then, like, the tag team with Moxley doesn't make sense. Why are you putting Moxley with Phoenix and Archer, who are feuding with Butcher and Blade, when Moxley isn't?
Throwing it at the wall and letting it stick.
With Kingston, but I don't understand the Moxley Lance Archer, the Ray Phoenix thing. Death Triangle, they're keeping them relevant.
Phoenix makes sense because one, they've paired Archer up with Death Triangle before, and then most recently Mox was paired up with Death Triangle. So that makes sense as to why Phoenix is there. He's the only common link between those two. Yet again, just like the only common link between Mox and Archer before was the fact that they had worked in New Japan with, as Kenny and Kenta had. Kenny and Kenta had the Bullet Club angle. Kenta and Mox had the U.S. title angle. Mox, I don't think he ever wrestled, he wrestled Archer in the G1, if I recall. But
so for the U.S. title.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like there's relations there, but
relations don't matter.
Yeah, it just
storyline, and this doesn't make it's being forced. They're forcing a pairing. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to stop the force, let it go, and build naturally. Like, he comes in for like a split second, and then they're like, "Oh, fuck it. Here we go," and it's like it wasn't even a monumental thing. He comes in, pushes a dude, and then gets his ass kicked.
Yeah.
Like
for me, it's figure out what you want your faction's gimmick and personality to be.
For the love of God, if someone gets injured, don't just stick someone in there. Let the faction work as a fucking injured leg.
Yeah. Let them be handicapped. You know, nothing wrong with a handicap match. You're supposed to be, like, with Death Triangle, the fact that they're short of Penta. Sure, they could pick up a third person if they wanted. The way they kind of picked up Mox made sense. But I think it would have been more to their favor if they played them off as these tough badasses, like they want Death Triangle to be, and had them go handicapped into these, like, triple threats, etc.
Or for good storytelling purposes, have them get even. Have them say they hurt Pin, and then have them get even.
Yeah, you took one of ours, we're going to take one of yours. And they do it that way. Play it dirty, because, I mean, it's right now it's heels.
The brutalizer can easily tear a rotator cuff in kayfabe.
Yeah, fair enough. There it is. Done
and
and
the
done.
The weak link of the Kingston stable is Blade.
Yep. It's true. It's true. But
I
again,
agree with that. I think the weak link would be Butcher, because it would give him a good excuse to go take off on tour if he needed to injure him.
it's true, but they'd have to wait a little later in the year to do that.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, that would.
Logically, you aren't wrong. Both.
But by far, the weakest link is Eddie Kingston, because fuck Eddie Kingston.
I was waiting on that. But again, I want them to figure out their factions' identities much better. One, Dark Order being the prime example, started off as this cool, like, dark, like, eerie faction, and now they're kind of like this weird, like, supernatural social club.
Bring back the Minion bench.
I want the Minion bench back so bad.
Mm-hmm.
So bad.
Use that.
But that's one thing. One, the Elite can't figure out whether, or the Bucks, the Elite, whatever the fuck, can't figure out whether they want to be heel, whether they want to be face, what they want to fucking do. Pick one. Fucking pick one. That's all you have to do.
And that's the thing, too, is AEW. I know Cody's all, this isn't about baby faces and heels. Yeah, it is. It's wrestling. You gotta have them. They need to distinguish them. Everybody needs to either be a babyface or a heel, or distinguish the fact that you're turning.
I like the Bucks as heels more.
I do too. Heel Bucks were amazing. Face Bucks, they're enjoyable, but they don't have that edge. They have to have that more or less killer instinct that they had when they were heels.
I say it's more paint by numbers.
Yeah. But that's my main thing. I want the factions to be more cut and dry as to how they're going to be. And as of right now, the only factions that do what they're supposed to do, or I'm going to just say faction, is Death Triangle. They're the only ones that's gimmick has not changed.
Nope.
They are what they say they are. 3 badasses doing work. And that's all they do. The Inner Circle started off as, this elite group that never fucking in-fought or anything else. Then soon as they added a new member, we knew it was going to go downhill from there, and it's just become more and more of a joke.
Told you, man. MJF is taking over.
Yeah, I know.
Said it since the beginning.
Yeah. It's going to happen. I've already said my piece on the Bucks. Kingston's faction, it's like a revolving door of people. It almost feels like. I'm just like, I don't know about you guys. It's just stop. But yeah.
One thing I would like to say,
Huh?
as we watched Nitro, we saw a lot of people who are in the AEW locker room as agents and influencers.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying, they need to speak the fuck up.
Yep. Malenko works for AEW. Arn works for AEW. Fucking Shivani works there. Shit, who else that was on that show is in there?
Hasn't Conan been in and out?
I would loosely affiliate Conan just because they have that working relationship with AAA, but I could almost say that's more with working with Vampiro than Conan.
Well, as far as backstage, I think Craig Leathers works there, who was in the trucking on WCW. There's a couple other producing guys that were there, that worked there. Keith Mitchell works for AEW. He was one of the big production wheels over WCW.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's. But one thing what me and Will talked about off air last week, I forgot to mention, what's hurt all these programs in modern wrestling? Video screens. Titantron was the worst thing that happened to wrestling.
It's so distracting. I do miss the simpler times of when a wrestler would just come in and their music would hit. They would walk out. They didn't have a fucking video package that played the entire time. Because if Cody was just fucking music, his fucking intro wouldn't be 10 minutes long. It wouldn't.
And if we didn't have these big elusive sets, and because AEW doesn't really have baby faces or heels, there's no point having 2 different locker rooms.
They do, but they don't have it as well defined as back in the day. They do. They have the modern day versions. I know who's going to come out of the left-hand side and who's going to come out of the right-hand side, but it's not as clear-cut as it once was because everyone likes playing that flirting with the bad side type of angle now that was made popular by, honestly, the soon-to-be Attitude Era in the WWF. But
I like what New Japan does, and we talked about that off air last week.
Yes.
The New Japan entrance and the loser ramp, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
They have screens, but they're not distracting.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Except the only one time they do it's when they have Wrestle Kingdom, when they go all out.
Yeah, but I'm okay with that because it's just
that's special attraction. That's like WrestleMania.
Exactly. But I do like the one ramp, and then I like the loser's exit ramp, and the winner goes up the main one. I'm fine with that. But other than that, I mean, I think we've pretty much hit the nail on the head.
Did we have fun doing this?
I liked it. I did. I think it can be something that we could mess around with every so often, especially if we've got, like, say, put it like once a month. Maybe the next one we hit is the one where they kick off the Rawless War.
Okay.
So that's in what, like a month?
Month and a half, I think. I think it's after WrestleMania they go that route.
Other than that, I enjoyed it. Now, I believe it is time for the famous and oft-requested plug session.
They're sponsors,
Yes, indeed.
and they're not real. Just making sure that's stated.
Oh, yeah.
Not real. These are not real. These are not products. These are just making fun of everything. All right. We had a couple sponsors come in. I'm not too keen on any of them, to be honest. I think they're just okay. Not in the sense that you're thinking. I just think the products don't really fit our jam.
Oh.
I'm trying to run through it. Actually, one might be for John. Do you think you've been hard from day one-ish? Maybe you like to act like you've been in prison, but the worst thing on your record is being drunk in public. Well, we've done that. Now you too can be the silver spoon hard ass of your dreams with the USO Penitentiary Wine Cooler Kit. Within every kit, you will receive the items needed for an improved formula of penitentiary booze. Your kit will consist of oranges, fruit cocktail, sugar cubes, yeast, and ketchup. That's all that's needed is a Ziploc bag, some warm water, and 5 to 7 days of fermentation. Now you can finally answer the question, have you ever been to prison? By serving these desperate drinks to you and your closest oos. No longer will you be the weakest members of the family, only the most drunk. The USO Penitentiary Wine Cooler Kit. Why go to prison when the prison life can come to you? This product is officially endorsed by Sonny.
I like it.
Are you bad, but need a way to show everyone? Do you and your posse utilize a gang mentality to take what's yours? Do you need to demand respect without actually earning it? Well, with this product today, you can, with the wonderful new product from Bullet Club, the Switchblade J White Beater. Let your enemies know you mean business. Nothing says leader like a switchblade and a white tank top. Don't believe me? With your very own Switchblade J White Beater, you will gain your very own Gato with no effort at all. Guaranteed. In addition to striking fear into the hearts of mere mortals and forming an unbreakable slave bond with an underling, the Switchblade J White Beater is professional attire for any event. Block party? Switchblade J White Beater. Job interview? Switchblade J White Beater. Court case? Switchblade J White Beater. Not even the Blade Runner himself could pull this look off. With the Bullet Club Switchblade J White Beater, the world is yours for life.
The J White Beater.
Nice.
That's good. That's good.
Are you a larger than average person? Do you have trouble with privacy in the most inopportune moments? Is the need for nature's call greater than the need to fit in confined places? Today is your lucky day. From the minds of those who like to monetize other people's misery comes the Andre the Giant Pea Curtain. Gain the ability to use the restroom whenever you please. When you know the certain place you are just can't fit the bill. Simply place on the specially designed harness and specialized attachment, and you will then experience the bliss of true personal freedom with the simple pull of a curtain. Whenever you need to go, it's only in arm's reach away. Whether you're in an elevator, a boardroom, an airplane, a wrestling match, your sister's awkward bar mitzvah, the Andre the Giant Pea Curtain, even Vincini couldn't even come up with this product. Get yours today. Please note, the Andre the Giant Pea Curtain is only used for privacy in a visual capacity and does not inhibit the potential for smells and sounds associated with actions normally perceived to be performed when utilizing the Andre the Giant Pea Curtain. The Andre the Giant Pea Curtain is not a viable option of privacy when in the vicinity of schools, parks, or wherever children are present.
Excellent disclaimer. Excellent. That was good. That was good. I'm glad those are back this week. It's still gonna be hard for any of them, to top the tampon one for week 1. Jesus
I don't know, man.
Christ.
That one was on point, and the Python pills. I don't think I'll ever top them. I think I peaked on the very first set.
You blew
Right
your
back
wad
to Gordon
squarely.
place Priscilla Kelly totally tainted tampons and Hulk Hogan's Python pills. Nothing's
Those
gonna,
were badass.
Those are
nothing will beat them. It's actually really hard to come up with anything.
Oh, I got one. I know who it was now. So it's past Valentine's Day. Did you forget about your special someone? Well, I have something for you. BGradeFlowers.com.
be great.
We go to Walmart, Target, all your big retailers, and get their used flowers they could not sell. They might be a little bit rotted, but hey, the thought that counts. BGradeFlowers.com.
That was not too bad. It's short and sweet.
Want to thank all of our sponsors out there, especially And the Polar, Falcon, Corey, all those guys. Thank all you guys for being our friends, and make sure you guys support them and check out their podcast, their YouTube channel. Falcon making us sound good, making this sound like an actual coherent conversation. Thanks a lot. Want to thank everyone once again for joining us on Tuesday night, post to post Tuesday night.
Tuesday, post to post Tuesday.
And the Polar versus Post to Post Thumb WrestleMania.
No, it's the Colossal
This
Tussle.
discussion,
The colossal tussle.
man, and I am Drummer John. Y'all have a good night. We'll talk to you
Bye.
again next week. Peace.
Bye, everybody.
Ah!